Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if the seal placed on Naruto was not the Shiki Fujin part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. In the age when shinobi discovered chakra with its many uses for humans, a change came about the lands. Through hand seals, different bloodlines, bloodline limits and traits, strong techniques surfaced. Many wars broke out on just who were the strongest and carried the most power while using chakra. Daimyo, no longer ruled by a shogun, sought to divide the lands to give themselves more power and govern rule. As the years passed and alliances were being formed, broken and reformed by many different shinobi and samurai clans, the once united land divided into 10 different territories being ruled, save one. Later, these territories were given the names of the land of water, earth, fire, wind, lightning, iron, rice, snow, delusion, and void, with many small territories being controlled and named by the shinobi controlling them, giving birth to what is now known as the elemental nations. In a different plane of existence, many kami foresaw the upcoming problems with the humans' development in chakra and the division of lands. So the kami of creation called upon his children for an emergency council to try for a solution. Omoikane, the kami of wisdom and intelligence, led the council in a land which was the only area not occupied by the humans. Once the meeting took place, Omoikane told them their father's concerns over the humans, and that he wished for the divine races to guard over them and enforce the will of the kami. To decide this, Omoikane had their champions, which were the rulers of each of the divine races, compete to see who would guard over each landmass. The battle lasted for many months and only stopped when there were only 9 still standing, the exact number they wanted. As a result of these battles and the time it took to complete, the backlash of their powers remained, sucking the life out of everything, in which the area they fought in came to be known as the Land of Void. However, because one area could not contain their power, the damage leaked over into another, making it an ever-changing place, which is now known as the Land of Delusion because nothing is ever as it seems there. These 9 divine champions were then split up to govern different areas, with some teaming up to only interfere when one nation became too powerful for their own good, or they were trying to go beyond what the kami had intended for their race. The 9 divine champions were later known by the humans as Bijudama, tailed demon lords, for the destruction and death they caused when they appeared, many not knowing or even caring that the kami themselves made them and held them in high regard, while others who prayed and had temples built to worship their kami, with depictions of that kami's champion, were given the knowledge of the reasons why there was one of the divine beings now walking among the lands. On the human side, and before, there were the 5 great shinobi nations, which were housing many known and unknown clans. The Namikaze clan were known by all, renowned for their superior and deadly taijutsu skills, kenjutsu, healing and medicine practice. The Namikaze never were known to belong to one nation, welcomed and feared by many, regardless if they healed or cured clans that were at war with each other. The Namikaze never fought for anyone, save their own clan and to protect those under their care. For that they were feared, respected, and hated but never hunted. When the Namikaze clan was traveling in Fire Country, shortly after the time the hidden villages were created, the first great shinobi war started. The clan was forced to take shelter outside the capital city of Fire Country, Phoenix, to make sure they were not involved in the fighting. After a rough year of war and heavy losses, the daimyo of Fire Country came to them and requested the help of the renowned Namikaze clan. Being as though the Namikaze had no affiliation or allegiance with any nation and were known to stay neutral, they only offered to heal and protect the wounded. The Namikaze could never be forced into any situation, which, angered by their refusal to fight, the daimyo of Fire Country tried to do. In a show of force, the Fire Lord summoned half his entire samurai force to bring the Namikaze to him by any means. The samurai fought using an old code of honor, which had them waiting until dawn, so that their enemy could see and know their purpose. Later, they realized that if they were just even a little bit like their ninja counterparts, they would not have taken so many losses. After a few days of bloodshed, only one of the daimyo's samurai was left alive to tell the tale of the samurai's destruction, with not a single life lost to the Namikaze. Humbled by the battle prowess and miracles of healing by the Namikaze, and with fear of their movement towards the capital, the daimyo of Fire Country had no choice but to surrender to the Namikaze clan. With only half his fighting force remaining, the Fire daimyo knew the Namikaze could and would destroy him if further provoked. After a few months of debating and peace talks, the 2 councils of the Fire Country and the Namikaze clan came to an understanding. The Namikaze, being tired of constant traveling into areas where power-hungry people wanted to control them, or use them for their own purposes, they decided to go live and help out in the village of Kanohigaku no Sato, using their many skills and knowledge to help with the war and better the nation. Though the Namikaze were angered for the action of, in their opinion, the simple-minded current Fire Country's daimyo, trying to force the clan into submission, they considered the future of their clan. They put together an ironclad treaty that would see it signed right away. The only drawback to the treaty was to the Nation of Fire because of the way the treaty was formed. For if any reason the Namikaze clan felt as though they were being treated unfairly, or viewed the rule of the hidden village as corrupt, they could renounce their titles and standings with the Land of Fire, and leave with no repercussions in any way. The contract, after being reviewed by the daimyo's advisors, added one stipulation. After every 3 generations the treaty was to be resigned and known throughout each clan council, and the court of daimyo, to keep both parties happy and the alliance strong. Unfortunately, after some time, all good things must come to an end. Whether this ended bad or good and for whom? Only time would tell. Naruto woke up in the morning at 0730 with a heavy heart, as he slowly reached over to shut off his alarm clock. As he got up, he could not help but sigh when he looked around at the apartment that he's had since just after his 5th birthday. The walls in his room had slash marks from kunai, and deep holes that were caused by many villagers and shinobi alike. They came in when he was gone countless of times to cause damage, and leaving not so subtle messages of hate. Naruto made his way into his bathroom, which had dry rotted walls, patches of mildew in different areas, and looked at himself in the mirror. A tan-skinned and slightly skinny face, with cerulean eyes that reflected his broken soul, stared right back at him. He looked at the unique 3 thin hairline whisker marks that adorned both sides of his face, which many of the opposite sex had considered cute until they found out who he was. His bright blonde hair with thick spiky locks came to just past his shoulders. This was styled in a way that screamed untamed, due to no one willing to let him go into their shop for a haircut. His hair was another feature that was unique to the village of Konoha. The only other family with blonde hair had a lot paler hair color than his sunshine hair. All in all, many would find him attractive. It does not matter what I look like anyway, no one wants to get to know me, the real me anyway. I am not even sure I know the real me, I've always felt as though I am missing a part of myself. Naruto thought and sighed as he went about his normal activities before getting ready to go. Hopefully going to his last class at the Ninja Academy, since today was the day of finals. After his shower, he looked into his closet to only see 3 bright orange jumpsuits looking right back at him, which made him sigh again. Despite what many others believed, Naruto did not really care for the color of orange, but had no choice but to wear it. Since the only clothing store that would sell to him only sold him the orange jumpsuits at an overcharged price. It was the reason behind them selling it to him that made Naruto dislike the color orange. After hearing how the store owners hoped and prayed that Naruto would get spotted quick and killed on his first mission, instead of thinking more about it, he just grabbed them and dressed before going out to his kitchen to make himself something to eat, instant ramen. While he did not totally dislike it, he was really sick of it. Ramen being the only thing he could afford to eat and buy at stores, due to overcharging, he tired of it really quick. Going into the fridge and pulling out the bottle of milk and pouring him a glass, he waited for the water to boil so he could cook his noodles. As he waited, Naruto could not help but reflect on what kind of life he has led so far. Growing up in an orphanage until the age of 5, Naruto was bullied, mistreated, starved, and kicked out or given a room with opened windows on the coldest nights. Naruto had to suffer it all with no one to help him, or show any care, because no one save a few actually looked at him and saw a child. His only break was when one of those few people helped him on his most horrible and life-altering night of his 5th birthday. Flashback. Naruto had a big smile on his face as he made his way to the orphanage from the park. Many would think that just by looking at him, he just had a grand time at the park. But what no one knew was that his smile reflected just the opposite on what he was feeling on the inside. Having been yelled at and chased out of the park by the parents again, Naruto wondered why most of the adults and some children called him names like demon, hell spawn, and being told things like, monster, why don't you just die, or the village made a mistake keeping you alive. Naruto could not help but ask himself things that no 5-year-old should have to ask, or even be exposed to. What have I done to receive all this hate? I apologize every time and try to be nice, but they just get angrier and hit me. Being deep in thought, Naruto never noticed that he arrived at the orphanage. Nor did he notice going inside, so he did not see when one of the caretakers came around the corner, only to be brought of his mind when he bumped into her and knocked himself down. The caretaker had a smile on her face and was reaching down to pick him up until she saw who it was. Where were you today, demon brat? Looking up into her hateful face, Naruto put on a smile before he gave his response. Nachan, I did not see you, I just came from the park, and Naruto was interrupted in his explanation as a hand slapped him across the face really hard, sending him crashing down to the floor and sliding into the wall. Don't ever call me that again, demon. You will never have any relationships with anyone. The caretaker yelled, kicking Naruto in the stomach as he tried to get up. Careful not to hit him too hard to leave any lasting marks or do hospital-warranted damage. I would kill you myself if it was not for that stupid law the Sandami made, you hell spawn waste of space, and just for that you get no food tonight. Before Naruto could move to get up, the caretaker grabbed a handful of his hair, enticing a small cry, and proceeded to drag him down the hall and up the stairs to his assigned room. Being used to this kind of treatment, and pain, the only thing that kept little Naruto from screaming out was his will and mantra. "Don't let them see me weak, don't let them see me weak," that ran over and over again in his head. Also, since Naruto knew from experience every time he cried out, the people would beat him longer and harder. When they reached his so-called room, the caretaker bent over slightly and brought Naruto's face to hers. "If you somehow get out of this room, I will take pleasure in breaking every one of your fingers, and enjoy the sounds of pain you make." With that, she tossed him into his room roughly, then closed and locked the door and waited to hear what she wanted. Once Naruto heard the click, he could not hold back the pain and tears anymore and let it all out, crying himself to sleep. He never heard the sound of laughter the caretaker made as she walked away satisfied. End flashback. That was the last day Naruto spent in one of the many orphanages of Konohagakure, the village hidden in the leaves. Naruto then got up and grabbed the pot of boiling water, pouring some of it into his ramen, and sat back down. Waiting the 3 minutes that it took to soften them, Naruto continued to reflect on the night of his 5th birthday. Flashback. Later that night, Naruto woke up to the cool October breeze coming in from his open window, and the sounds of celebrating off in the distance. "I don't care what they say anymore, I am going out, and I am not coming back here. There has to be a nicer place I can stay at." With his determination restored, Naruto grabbed his small bag and packed his 3 cleanest pairs of shirts and a pair of pants into it, and closed it. Since the orphanage staff only let him wash his clothes once every 3 weeks, he would wear one set for a whole week before changing his clothes. As he looked at his best pair of clothes that he never wore, he spotted about 4 patches on the pants and numerous stitches on his shirt. "Well, it's the best pair I have, and I need to look nice, just in case I meet a nice family that would want to adopt me." With a small grin on his face, the closest thing to a real smile on Naruto, he changed his clothes and tied his shoulder blade length spiky blonde locks into a small ponytail. Naruto then strapped on his bag and walked over to his window, which he called the hole in the wall, since the staff made no attempt to put glass in it. "No more cold nights in here," he thought as he looked out of the window before jumping out the 2nd floor into a pile of boxes and newspapers. "Phew, I am glad I decided to put those there just in case I needed a quick escape. Now off to the festival and my new life." "Man, I wish that demon brat did not stay at the orphanage right now, I could use some fun," one villager said to his friend. "Yeah, 'cause I sure would love to burn the place down with him in it, listening to his screams on this beautiful night," which was the response of his friend. As they listened to the current Hokage give a speech about unity in the village between shinobi and civilian alike, so that everyone could be happy and continue to live in peace. "Well, would you look at that, the demon has come out to play," a random villager said, as he saw Naruto come around the corner and head to the food section. "How dare he show his face here at the festival in remembrance of the fallen of that accused knight. The demon has come to mock us and the yandame with his stupid little grin and innocent act. I can't believe that man and his young girl are selling him food. What is she, a demon lover?" asked a lady holding her little girl of about the same age as Naruto. They looked on in disgust as the group watched him eat bowl after bowl. "Let him eat now, and then we follow him and make sure he does not die just one bit of it," said another man as a small crowd gathered. Each of them coming over once they overheard words like demon and kill it finally. As Naruto finished up and left, he never noticed a small group start to follow him in the distance. "I wonder where that group is going to. Oh well, I will just check it out with a few A and B once my speech is done with," thought the Sandaime Hokage as he watched the group leave, thinking they were following something or someone. "Wow, I can't believe how nice that man and young lady were giving me free ramen, but why did those other people yell at me when I asked for food from their places? I mean, I asked nicely, and said I was going to pay, so what was the problem?" Being deep in thought again, Naruto was not paying attention where he was going, and even if he was, he still would be lost in this area, but maybe not be where he was now. Where am I, and what does that sign say? I really need to stop doing that and pay attention to my surrounding more. It could be bad if I don't. Naruto said out loud, looking up at a dead-end sign, not being able to read it since no one taught him how. "Oh well, I will just," he started and then trailed off as he turned around to see a crowd of glaring faces and smirks that held something that he could not recognize, but finding it familiar in a way. Hi, can one of you help me out? I am lost, and I am trying to find a nice family that can adopt me, so that I have a good place to stay and live at?" asked Naruto with a big smile, and in a way only a 5-year-old could. The only response he got was the narrowing of many eyes at him, making him more nervous than he already was. Seeing as though many strangers were all staring and glaring at him, and getting a strong feeling that was telling him to find a way out fast. He was about to speak again until a lady walked up with her daughter, as he noticed that they both had pretty pink hair. As they got in front of him, he decided to speak and introduce himself first, albeit shyly. Hi, my name is Naruto, and he gasped out as the little girl spit in his face and hit him as hard as she could in his stomach. Naruto paused halfway, bringing the noodles to his mouth, as he remembered the little detail of that night. I totally forgot that Sakura and her mom did that. I wonder if she still remembers. Most likely she does, as that may be the reason why she still hits me to this day and hates my guts. Naruto thought as he resumed eating and reflecting into the past. Flashback resume. Although Naruto had been hit a lot harder multiple times, her punch still had enough to hurt and send him down to one knee gasping for breath. No one would take you into their homes, demon, and adopt you. You would just kill them as they slept, the older woman said as she kicked a gasping Naruto to the ground and yanked off his backpack, tearing the straps. What's this stolen property from us good villagers? I hope the rest of them kill you where you lay, you hell spawn, for all the deaths and pain you caused, she said, giving him one last kick before walking away with her daughter. Naruto heard her telling her daughter how proud she was of her, and now would get extra ice cream when they got home. One of the last things Naruto thought before his whole world exploded in pain was, what is ice cream? Once the mother and daughter left, the Crowd ran over and started taking turns punching and kicking him until people started using whatever was in the alley to beat him with. Whether it was beating him with sticks or throwing trash and glass bottles at his small frame, they did not care. All that mattered was the death of the demon. After a few minutes of getting stabbed by sticks and broken glass bottles in his legs and back, Naruto heard off in the distance what he thought was his saviors. What's going on here? Asked two jounins loudly as they jumped down, scattering the crowd from around the bleeding and bloody mass of ripped clothing and flesh that was Naruto. We are killing the demon. He should not be allowed to live. I am getting revenge for my mother and father, responded random people out of the crowd as the two ninjas walked toward Naruto. Thinking that they were here to help, Naruto tried to get up and put his arms under him and started to push up. Help me, he pleaded weakly, which would have gone unheard if the ninjas had not been as close as they were. Naruto's arms exploded in pain as he fell back down on his face as a kunai pierced both arms, tearing through his small muscles. And where do you think you're going, demon, and calling out for help too? Did you give a damn when you killed my family, friends, and villagers, or destroy our homes, did you? The ninja on the left asked as he kicked Naruto in the face, breaking his nose and smiling as Naruto cried out in pain. Hey Nobu, let us get back a bit, and use small jutsus on him so he can experience as much pain as he can before we kill him. What do you say? The only answer he received was his friend's smile, as his hands went through seals that he recognized for a Katan jutsu, so he went through a different set himself. At the last moment, Naruto got enough strength to look at his new attackers in the face, to see a pair of all-white eyes with bulging veins around them, and a pair of red eyes with black little marks in them, before he saw a small fire head his way. The crowd cheered as they heard the pain-filled screams of the burning 5-year-old, and watched as the shinobi let him burn for a few seconds. Then the other ninja with the white eyes used a water blast on him, which put out the flames and crushed him to the street a little more. Seeing that the demon was wet, the other ninja with the red eyes went through another set of hand seals, which resulted in lightning charge to his hand. He then placed his hand on Naruto and electrocuted him, getting more pain-filled screams, before Naruto finally passed out from too much pain and loss of blood. What they did not notice due to their excitement was that the lightning remained for a few seconds longer before seemingly absorbed into the boy. Okay, let's end this, said the ninja with red eyes known as Nobu to his friend over the cheers of the crowd. 5 minutes earlier with the Sandaime Hokage. The Sandaime Hokage had just finished giving his speech, and decided to go see what that other small crowd of villagers that left was up to. Summoning his ANBU, he left atop the rooftops of the village at a steady pace, traveling a good distance until he heard a loud angst-filled scream in the voice of a child, followed by an even louder cheer of a crowd. Oh no, please don't let this be what I think it is, he thought as he sped up to his top speed, followed semi-closely by his ANBU. As they got closer, they could not help but smell a mix between burnt flesh and wet dog, which almost made some of them lose the contents of their stomach. When they got to the area, they looked down into an alley to see two jounin standing around something, and a crowd around them with smiles and insane looks of glee in the eyes. The Sandaime and the ANBU tried to see what they were looking at, but from where they approached they could not get a good view. Only when one of the jounin finished a set of hand seals and pulled a large boulder from the earth, did one of them act. Throwing one of her shuriken into his arm as he began to bring it down, the shinobi screamed in pain and moved, causing his throat to be off, which only hit part of his target, then rolled to the end of the alley. What the hell is going on here, and who are you two attacking? Yelled the Sandaime as he and his ANBU jumped down, surrounding the crowd and the two jounin. We have finally killed the demon Kyuubi, Sandaime-sama. Now we can all live in peace once again, the ninja said, gaining more confidence as his little speech ended. No, it can't be, We are not all dead yet, he may still be alive. Karasu, Sakana, you two check the boy. Now as for you two Uchiha Nobu and Hyuga Neemon, you are hereby arrested on the charges of treason for attacking a Konoha citizen, and violating the law I made by speaking of things forbidden out in the open. Sandaime said in a voice full of authority and restrained rage that left no room for questions, as 4 ANBU members surrounded them, placing chakra restraining seals on them and taking away their ninja gear and hitate. As such, the penalty is torture and death without trial. Take them to Ibiki and tell him I said to torture and keep them alive for a whole month, doing whatever he wants to. The rest of you, arrest any and all civilians that have any, and I mean any, physical evidence on them that connects them to being a part of this atrocity. Bring those with the evidence to Ibiki, and the rest that are here, put them in holding cells. What? This is an outrage. We deserve to be heroes, yelled the Hyuga as he was being restrained, while many in the crowd agree with him. Heroes? You are all ignorant and pathetic fools. You may have just killed a great hero and possibly signed all of our deaths if he dies. Sandaime-sama, he is still alive, just barely, but I have a pulse, although it is getting weaker by the minute, stated the female ANBU in the fish-themed mask. Get him to the hospital now. Sir, I am afraid to move him, let alone touch him. It could very well kill him. There is no part on him that is without injury. His skin that is not broken and bleeding is burned to the point that if I touch him I could pull it right off. Now Sakana! Karasu, go with her. Without a response, the female ANBU picked up what could not be recognized as Naruto anymore, and sped off to the hospital at her fastest speed. All the while the female ANBU put 2 blood pills and 1 food pill down Naruto's throat, and applied what medical knowledge she learned to the bleeding form in her arms. Once they reached the hospital, the Karasu-named ANBU used a futon jutsu to blow the doors in as they ran up to the front counter, knocking people out of their way. We need help fast. This child has not that much longer to live, please quickly, said the fish-masked female ANBU. Calm down, Miss ANBU, and tell me what happened and the child's name, so that we can pull his medical file to learn his blood type and anything else we need. I need emergency room 13 prepped for surgery and regeneration stat, and page Dr. Kosuke and his staff, the nurse said as 4 more nurses arrived to help out. His name is Naruto, and he was severely attacked by weapons and jutsus both until the Hokage, and we ANBU arrived to help him, stated the short dark purple-haired ANBU as Naruto's blood continued to pour over her slowly, making it pool at her feet. Good. I hope that little monster does us all a favor and dies. He deserved everything he got from those villagers and shinobi, a different nurse said as she stopped moving to help the small boy in the ANBU's arm, along with most of those around her. So you all are refusing to help the injured boy? Asked the crow-masked male ANBU, speaking for the first time, eyeing them all. Yes, who would want to help keep alive a little dog? She did not get to finish due to the blade of a katana sliding into her throat. The last thing she remembered was staring at a pair of coal-black eyes, which flashed red once then went back to the coal-black that they were. Before the other male and female nurses that refused to help could move, their heads fell to the floor with each having a look of shock across their faces, as their bodies crumpled to the floor. The only sound that was heard was the sound of a blade sliding back into the sheath on the back of the male ANBU. What is all this? What are you doing killing members of the hospital? Yelled the doctor, running up with about 5 others trailing behind him, and looking around at the headless and bleeding bodies that littered the once clean floor of the emergency waiting room. Before either could respond, he saw the bleeding mass of blonde-haired and burnt and damaged flesh in the female ANBU arms. Good God, Naruto, what did they do to you this time? Quickly follow me. This time? How many times has this happened? Echoed in the mind of the 2 ANBUs as they ran after the doctors to room 13. Place him on the table and please wait outside as we get to work. I would rather stay to make sure nothing happens to him, or that there is no more damage done to him while he is in this state of helplessness, Sakana said, standing her ground as the doctor who spoke to her turned around while the others worked to cut away the rest of Naruto's clothes and clean the wounds as gently as they could. I appreciate your concern, ANBU, because Kami knows the boy needs it, but you may trust me. I am Dr. Kosuke and I have treated Naruto before when others want nothing more than to toss him in the trash, which has happened before. Please just trust me and wait outside the room while we work, Dr. Kosuke said, turning back around to help treat the small boy who was near death. She was about to protest more until a firm hand grabbed her shoulder, giving it a gentle squeeze. She looked up only to see the Sandaime Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen looking over at Naruto with unhidden concern all across his face. Don't worry, Sakana, he is in the best hands that he can be in at a time like this. Come on and wait outside with me. Sarutobi brought her out of the room as the door closed and a red light went over it to signal an operation was in progress and any and all disturbances were not welcome. Hokage-sama, That doctor said something earlier about Naruto that I wanted to know whether or not was true. Let me guess, he mentioned something about this not being the first time he has seen Naruto is this state, and you want to know if he was just saying that? Sarutobi, looking at her and seeing her body go rigid, had to stifle a chuckle before he let out a long sigh, feeling more his age at that moment than he has in a while. What he said is correct, Sakana-chan. This has not been the first time Naruto has faced these types of injuries at the hands of this village. Granted, this has been the worst state afterwards, but it is not the first. But why doesn't he have someone to take care of him? He is only 5 years old, for Kami's sake. And to already have been through so much, how does he take it all? Sakana said, almost taking off her Anbu Sakana mask before remembering where she was at. That hid her tear-streaked face. Normally she would not have cried at all and simply brushed this type of thing off. But she could not this time due to how close this hit home to her life in the very same village. Unfortunately, Sakana-chan, I cannot find anyone willing to take care of Naruto, and those that I do find only stay long enough to try to kill him. Sarutobi paused as he heard her gasp at the thought of anyone willing to deceive all just to kill an innocent child. As for how he takes it all, I would say you would be the closet to have the answer to that question, since you go through similar things. Everything he goes through you go through, Sakana-chan, except for the physical attacks, since you are already a trained and seasoned kunoichi. Not to mention it was the very reason why you joined ANBU in the first place. Why don't you go and get cleaned up and get some rest? I don't want to leave him yet, Hokage-sama. I want to make sure he is alright. Sarutobi could not help but grin at the way she responded to this whole situation. Naruto, Anko, you two just might find someone precious to you when you two finally meet, and who knows what can happen when you are older. He will be safe at the moment, Sakana-chan. Plus I am going to wait here to hear the diagnoses. So go ahead home and get cleaned up, then you can come back here to visit him anytime before he wakes up, and if he does I will let you know. He said, adding that last part as he saw body language, thinking she would not be allowed near after he awoke. Yes, Hokage-sama, Anko said as she got up and slowly made her way out. Karasu. Yes, Hokage-sama. I want ANBU posted 24/7 in surveillance, inside and outside, on the roof, and across the way watching his window. Is that clear? Yes, Sandaime Samakurasu said as left in a murder of crows to carry out his orders. As a few hours went by, the light finally went out as the exhausted doctors left, walking out the room one by one with their coats covered in blood and sweat covering their faces. As Sarutobi walked into the room, he noticed Dr. Kosuke writing on a chart as he was taking Naruto's vitals as a post-surgery. So what is the extent of the damage this time? Sarutobi asked, fearing the worst. Before the doctor responded, he added one more thing to the chart before putting it in the slot at the end of the bed, watching as the nurses came and went to clean up what was left of the mess from surgery. My old friend, this is by far the worst I have ever seen him. 65% of his body had third-degree burns on it. He had multiple stab wounds which we had to clear broken glass and pieces of wood out of. 2 fractured vertebrae, 3 broken ribs, a punctured lung, 2 compound fractures, one in his left arm and the other in his right leg, which we noticed was a fractured femur in his right leg. Also massive blood loss, and head trauma that we will not know the extent of until he wakes up, if he wakes up. On top of it all, he is suffering from malnutrition. As the doctor listed all that was wrong with Naruto, Sarutobi could not help but feel a huge weight fall upon him with every injury listed, blaming himself for most of it, and going through tons of what-if possibilities. I wonder what she would do if she were here right now. Probably destroy this whole village save a few, and I would probably let her. Is there anything good that will come of this, doctor? Please cut the formalities, old friend. As for Naruto, his bones and muscle are already on a slow healing period thanks to it, which would let his internal organs make a full recovery. The burn marks are already healing fast thanks to the burn cream given to us by Hyuga Hyena. But I am afraid that his body is going to be forever scarred from this last attack. As for his mental health, only time can tell. I just hope for the best. Naruto has really been through too much for as young as he is already. And it just makes me mad that I am in here healing so many villagers that could have harmed him, and I don't even know. Yes, well, all we can do is hope for the best. As for the village, I have had enough. I am going to make a public execution of the 2 shinobis and the 30 villagers that participated in this last attack in a month's time, Sarutobi said with conviction and a face set in stone. The village and elder council will not like that turn of events at all, Kosuke said, knowing how most if not all of those on the council besides himself and a few others would oppose to that, especially since it revolved around the Kyuubi's vassal, the Jinchuriki Naruto. End flashback. Naruto remembered it all like it was yesterday as he threw away his trash and went to go brush his teeth. Once he had woken up 4 days later and told of the events that transpired and the people who helped him, he added them to his memory and asked if he could watch the execution of the 32 men and women. At first the Sandaime Hokage was against it, but after Naruto told him that it was either he watches it and finds closer that way, or he holds on to the anger and destroys the village when he is older and stronger. After hearing that, Sarutobi had a little concern, thinking maybe Kyuubi may have had something to do with it. But after looking into Naruto's pain-filled eyes, he understood that it was all Naruto, so he gave in. Afterward he gave Naruto his own apartment, and proceeded to get a few people to teach him the basic of school, since Naruto told he may have been able to escape if he read the sign that he knew to have meant dead end. After the public execution of those who attacked Naruto was over, there were no more physical attempts to harm him in any way. Instead, the villagers aimed at his emotional and mental state, by refusing to sell him food and everyday needs, and when they did he was horrendously overcharged. Wherever he went he was sent glares of hate, and when he came home he only found his apartment to be trashed and damaged beyond complete repair. So from that day forward, after his 5th birthday, Naruto hid himself from the world, no longer caring for fake smiles and false cheer, while learning all he could. Where not so far from the surface, his hate and anger festered and continued to grow. He also noticed the more he learned, the more he forgot. He also felt as though a part of him was missing and he was only half of what he could be. Naruto finished up and headed to his door, calming his facial features once more, and moved to open the door. Right as he went to open it, 2 faces flashed in his vision, causing his calmness to falter. Naruto looked up to see his landlord's wife looking at him, so he quickly made his face blank and locked his door and left for the academy. It happened so fast the middle-aged woman thought she was seeing things. Did I just see deep pain and sadness in his eyes and face? Nope, it can't be. Demons don't feel that kind of pain and can become sad, right? Little did she or Naruto know, but a seed of doubt was planted in her mind on just who is Naruto really. As Naruto made his way to the academy for the genin exams, he could not help but wonder why he even tried anymore. It's not like I would even be welcomed in Konoha's ninja world anyway, he thought as he continued to walk at a steady pace. Without even realizing it, Naruto moved to dodge a rock that was coming towards his head. Still deep in thought, he ignored all the hateful glares and comments spoken as he passed by random villagers. Naruto made it to the academy a little early, and with being so deep in thought, he kept walking until he came upon a lone swing hanging by a tree. Sitting down on the swing, Naruto once again dived down into his thoughts on his life. This place again, huh? Why did I come today? I have failed the last 3 times, so why? Every time I try it seems as though something is holding back my performance. My control sucks no matter what I do. I have mastered both the concentration technique and the leaf balancing that Ojaizen showed me. But it seems that even academy level Bunshin with the Genin chakra control training is too little for me. As the time slowly went by, Naruto found himself remembering the past for the 2nd time today, only this time it was right before his 9th birthday. Flashback begins. I am here to see the old man. Secretary Sen yelled a short blonde-haired cerulean-eyed boy in an ugly bright orange jumpsuit, as he ran up to the desk that was off to the side of the hall that leads to the Hokage's office. Well, the Hokage is too busy to bother with a brat like you, so get out of here, demon, before. Oh, I did not know that I was busy. As far as I know, I don't have anything scheduled this morning at all, Sarutobi stated as he came up right behind the now scared Chunin secretary. You pardon me, Hokage-sama, the Chunin said, bowing. I just did not think you would want to be bothered by the Q. And bu, Sarutobi said, cutting him off before he could say too much. Yes, Hokage-sama, 2 masked shinobi said, appearing in twin clouds of smoke. Take him to see Ibiki and have him re-educate this Chunin on how he is supposed to treat children of this village. As for you, Mizuki, you are suspended from ninja duties for 6 months and after will only receive reduced genin pay for a year. Now, get him out of my sight. Yes, Hokage-sama, the 2 said in unison as they disappeared in puffs of smoke with a red-faced and furious Mizuki. Now, sorry you had to see that, Naruto-kun, but what do I owe the pleasure of this visit? I just needed to talk to you about something, Naruto said, grinning up at him. Okay, come on ahead in my office, Sarutobi said, leading Naruto to the Hokage's office. The office was nothing really special, just a desk with stacks of paper on it with a few chairs around it, and one big one behind it that looked pretty comfortable. There was also a couch on the wall facing the desk that was to the right, or the door leading in. Although Naruto has been in the office plenty of times, he never really took the chance to look around at the other details. On the left wall were 4 pictures in a frame of wood that looked to be expensive, but that was not what drew you to them. It was the faces in the pictures that demanded one to take the time to study. From the left to the right was the Shodaime Hokage Kanehagakuer, Senju Hashirama. He was known as the creator of the forest that surrounded the village since he had a Kekkei bloodline limit that allowed him to control the growth and creation of nature, specifically that of trees and roots. Next to his photo was that of his younger brother, the Nidaime Hokage Senju Tobirama, who was said that his complete mastery of water went unrivaled by all who tried to use the art of Suite Unjutsu. Next to them was their own student and current Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, the Sandaime Hokage, known for his nickname the Shinobi no Kyuukin, Professor of Shinobi. For his ingenious ways of making new jutsus, mastery of the 5 elements, and combinations of the 5 major elements to create even more destructive jutsus. Next to the Sandaime's photo sat the last one on the wall and the youngest Hokage to ever be known to the shinobi world, the Yondaime Hokage Namikaze Minato. Being known as the Konoha no Kuroisenko, Konoha Yellow Flash, from a technique he created and was the only one to be able to use it. The Yondaime became famous in the Third Great Shinobi War, by single-handedly defeating over 300 IWA, rock, shinobi on the battlefield in under a minute, turning the tides and forcing the other nations to withdraw their forces in fear of his new technique, the Hiraishin, Speed Flash, or Flying Thunder God to some. He was later known as the hero of the village for defeating the legendary 9-tailed demon fox, the Kyuubi no Kitsune, by sacrificing himself to Shinigami, the god of death. Naruto looked at that picture longer than the rest and found something familiar but did not know what it was. Filing that thought for a later time, he turned his attention to the rest of the room, noting a sliding door that led off to a balcony that faced toward the Hokage monument, which was made up of the 4 faces of the past and present Hokages carved into the mountain side. On the wall to his right, Naruto noticed a metal door which led to a huge room filled with rows upon rows of shelves filled with scrolls and items Naruto has never seen or heard existed in his 8 years of living. Seeing where Naruto's attention was, the Sarutobi calmly walked over to the vault door, shutting it, and going through a few hand seals faster than most can follow, while muttering something softly. As soon as he was done, the vault door disappeared and in its place was an ordinary-looking wall. "So what did you want to discuss, Naruto-kun?" Sarutobi asked, taking his seat behind his desk, motioning for Naruto to go ahead and start. When Naruto heard him speak, his expressionless face changed and in its place was the face of a calm, calculating, and knowledgeable face with dead, sad and pain-filled eyes. Outside of his apartment, this was the only place that he felt comfortable being himself. And the Sandaime Hokage was the only one he allowed and trusted to see his real face and know the real Naruto. Sarutobi Ojizen, grandfather, Sarutobi could not help but chuckle at the use of title Naruto had given him. But it also made him smile on the inside that Naruto could see him in that light, since he would consider Naruto as sort of a grandson. Seeing the perplexed expression on Naruto's face for his chuckle, Sarutobi waved it off, signaling for him to continue. "Well, you see, I want to be stronger so that I can protect myself if the time arises. The scrolls and text you gave I have finished, and I can only do so much training alone. So do you have anything else that I can do?" "Well then, how about I put you in this year's academy class? I know it is kind of sudden, but the quicker you learn the better." He was about to continue until he saw Naruto's eyes get sadder, if that was possible. Knowing he wanted to say something, he waited for Naruto to get his thoughts in order. "I don't think that is a good idea, Ojizen. No one in the village would want to teach me anything. I still would not know how to read, write, and count if it was not for you, and I think that if I went they would just try to hold me back. No one would sell me the books and scrolls that I need, and I have not even tried to go to the library for fear of being kicked out." Sarutobi just sat there looking at Naruto after he finished talking, going over what was just said, and as bad as it is, what he said was most likely true. What has become of this village? Are the people really so blind to not see a young child suffering right in front of their eyes? "I tell you what then," he said, reaching into his desk, pulling out a book to give to Naruto. "Read this until you understand it, and then go to the library. I am sure you would not get kicked out. I know who works there, and she is a good person. Her name is Nara Yoshino, and she was your mother's best friend." Sarutobi almost slapped himself at the mention of Naruto's mom, but Naruto was not paying attention at all. Instead, he had flipped the pages to a random spot and started reading, not understanding what he was reading. Trying to find out what had Naruto so entranced, Sarutobi leaned forward to listen. "So well-formed breast," Shinta said to Kagome as her face became red. Shinta then bent his head down, flicking his tongue across the on her right breast before he started sucking, getting a low moan out of Kagome. "Please don't stop." With his face red, Sarutobi quickly grabbed the book out of Naruto's hand, putting it back in his desk and grabbing another one, but reading the cover first. "Cough, well yeah, please do not mind that one at all. Here is the book I want you to read." "Why is your face all red, Ojizen, and what was that book?" Naruto asked, taking the book and reading the cover that read Introductions to the Wide World of Shinobi. Naruto opened the book, looking at the index, and spotted something which caught his interest: types of jutsu, so he read the page number and skipped to it. Sarutobi looked over at the clock, seeing as it was only 0800 in the morning. He knew he had nothing scheduled, so he just sat back and watched Naruto settle himself on the only couch in the office and begin to read out of the book. Letting out a sigh, the Sandaime Hokage looked at his desk at the piles of paperwork, shaking his head, and began another boring day of the office duties of a Hokage. Naruto sat down on the couch, getting comfortable, and started reading out of the book he got, trying to find out what this ninja business was all about. Despite what others may believe, there are only 5 major types of jutsu that are used by shinobi and 1 subtype of jutsu. This subtype is known as kinjutsu, forbidden techniques. Kinjutsu are forbidden due to the amount of chakra needed to perform them, or the cost of completing them. This could prove deadly to the average shinobi. Another reason they are forbidden is by the destructive force of the jutsu once preformed. They are also forbidden because some of the jutsus require a human sacrifice or are considered life-threatening when preformed. All shinobi villages have considered the sacrifice of another life for a jutsu to be inhumane. Each different shinobi village has a set of kinjutsu that are one of the village's most guarded secrets. They are kept in a scroll hidden away for all except the Hokages and key shinobis. Naruto looked up at the Hokage about to ask if they had this type of scroll. But seeing the Sandaime doing his paperwork and smoking on his pipe stopped him from interrupting. Instead, he went back to reading, having his judgment of whether he would go to the academy to become a shinobi started. Ninjutsu is the art of using hand seals to control the flow of chakra, blending it with the 5 major elements. Certain bloodline-based techniques can combine certain elements to make a new one. The primary types of elemental jutsu are as follows. Katon, fire, the creation and release of fire in a controlled form of attack. Many shinobi have tried to control fire to the point of using it as a form of transportation or defense. But all those who have tried have failed, either dying in the attempt or becoming severely injured. Note, futon attacks are weak against this element, which only makes the attack stronger. Doton, earth, the use of the earth as a part of an attack or defense, which is the most used and can block most if not all physical attacks and can defend against 3 of the 5 elements. Causes the most blunted physical damage out of the 5 elements that are used by shinobis. It is the best defense against Suiton jutsu. Suiton, water, the release or use of water for offense causing physical damage in the way of a crushing pressure. Can be used as a defense to block some physical attacks and is the best defense against katon-based attacks. Futon, wind, the use or release of attacks based on wind. Futon jutsus are manipulated through the use of weapons and or jutsu-based attacks that usually cut through the object in its path. Futon-based attacks are the best used for interrupting or destroying other element-based attacks, since it can cut right through them or blow them away from the user. The only elemental defense that may be able to stand up to a futon-based attack is Doton defense, but they will also fall from strong slicing wind attacks. Note, do not use against strong katon users. Wow, I would not mind being able to use all wind-based attacks, they rock, said an excited Naruto, getting a small chuckle out of Sarutobi, and a genuine smile since he was glad the village did not destroy all of Naruto's childish antics. Last we come upon Raiten, lightning-based jutsu. Raiten jutsu are the hardest to learn since lightning is not the easiest to control. Raiten has many uses and is the best for attacking against any Doton-based jutsu, both offense and defense. Raiten also is best used for piercing damage. Next type of shinobi jutsu is genjutsu, which uses illusions to attack the mind and natural senses. Being able to trick or deceive the victim into believing things that would normally not exist, while they get physically attacked. Stronger genjutsu can cause mental and or physical damage depending on the shinobi's understanding of the mind and genjutsu. Some genjutsu can be cast by those possessing the Dijutsu, I techniques, of the Kekkei Genkai, Bloodline Limit, Sharingan, Copy Wheel Eye, and another unnamed one for Water Country. Details of the bloodline can be found in the section of clan history. Note, masters of this art are able to cast genjutsu with a single body movement, or from eye contact without having to have an ocular-based bloodline. Fuinjutsu, sealing techniques, are a type of shinobi art that contains or seals items, chakra forms, elements, and live beings into scrolls, objects, and sometimes humans. The most used is a certain type of paper that was created with the use of churka. Fuinjutsu can also be used to add properties to different objects like weapons or scrolls, i.e. exploding tags. It was later found out that Orochimaru in S-Class Missing Nin was experimenting on the use of putting power and control seals on people. Information on Orochimaru can be found in the Konoha Bingo Book of Missing Ninja. Fuinjutsu is also the most versatile of all, with the only limit to that being the user's skill and imagination. The Uzumaki clan was the only known clan to have mastered using this art. Information on this clan can be found in the clan history. The last 2 types of shinobi arts are that of taijutsu, body techniques, and kenjutsu, weapon techniques. Taijutsu is the way of hand-to-hand fighting to cause physical damage to an object or person by use of the body and or terrain. There are many different types of fighting forms, and some fighting forms that can only be used by certain clans that have Kekkei Genkai to let them use it. For example, the Byakugan, White Eyes or Evil Eye, and the use of Gentle Fist can only be used by the clan of the Hyugas. The Byakugan allows for them to see and attack the chakra coils and points in the body with the style of Gentle Fist. More details of the bloodline can be found in the section of clan history. Last we have kenjutsu, which are forms of fighting with the use of different kinds of bladed and blunted weapons. Better understances and dance-like movements to go through and around the natural defense of someone to injure, wound, incapacitate, and or cause death. The most used would be Aijutsu or the Way of the Sword. Flashback ends. Naruto had to think that if the Sandaime never gave him that book, would he have never held any interest in becoming a shinobi at all. Nor would he have started his venture in the art of Fuinjutsu. Shortly after that, Naruto found himself in the library where he met Nara Yoshino, which he later found out this year was the mother of his classmate Naro Shikamaru. True to the Hokage's word, she was nice and enjoyed Naruto's company and helped him out when she could, taking a mothering role and teaching him proper etiquette in all settings, and most things one's parent would that Naruto did not get. Yoshino was another person. Naruto found out that he did not have to wear his mask around, when Yoshino confronted Naruto one day about why he always tried to keep his emotions in and acting like what she called stick in the ass nobles. After a long conversation, and convincing on Yoshino's part, Naruto finally opened up to her and told her most of his concerns. So as the years went by, if Naruto was not training physically, he could be found in the Hokage's office, or mostly in the library reading and learning anything he could or whatever Yoshino felt that he should know. Naruto lifted up his head to see that nobody was outside the school grounds, and thinking that either it was still early or he did not get to finish, he thought, since the bell rang signaling the start of the academy. Well, that answers that question, and it was nice to have someone tell me school was starting. Naruto then let out a big sigh as controlled his emotions and made his way into the building known as the Konoha Ninja Academy of Genin Hopefuls. Nice of you to join us, Naruto. You would think this being your 4th attempt to graduate you would want to be on time, the Chunin ranked instructor known as Yumino Irika said, as Naruto came into the door getting a few snickers and words like dope, dunce, baka, idiot, and dead last from the class. Maybe it's because I like being around the young girls all the time, like you, seeing as though you're always smiling, giving one-on-one time with them, Naruto said as he took up a thinking pose, then snapping his fingers like he just figured something out. Come to think of it, all this time I have been here I have never seen you offer any guys tutoring lessons. Just shut up and take your seat, yelled the red-faced Irika, as Naruto looked around to find a seat, with the class now laughing at Irika while some of the girls looked sick. Seeing his usual seat by the ever-emotionally brooding, arrogant, pompous-assed Uchiha Sasuke taken by Yamanaka Ino, and next to her Harino Sakura, Naruto breathed out a sigh of relief that he did not have to put up with that today. Spotting a seat next to the shy and only likable Hyuga, in his opinion, Hyuga Hinata, he made his way over to her and sat down next to her. Hello Hinata-san, I have never really talked to you before or sat down next to you for that matter, but I have noticed that you hold back a lot, Naruto said in a low voice so only she could hear. He knew that Inuzuka Kiba liked to eavesdrop with his canine hearing when anything involving the shy girl came up. Hinata, on the other hand, had to fight down a blush and to keep from fainting since the object of her crush sat down right next to her. She got her hopes up but were immediately crushed when she heard what he said. Even Naruto thinks I am weak and useless. Naruto noticed the sad and disappointed aura she let off, so he continued. Although I see you hold back, probably because you don't want to hurt anyone, I know that you are very strong inside and have much strength. All you need is a little support and self-confidence, and you can become great. So if you want others to start to believe in you, you have to first believe in yourself. Do you understand, Hinata? Naruto said, getting a surprised gasp out of Hinata. She could not believe that Naruto would know so much of her inner turmoil by just looking at her. Hell, she looked and watched him more than he did her, but in a span of a few seconds he expressed some of her fears and faults, and gave her advice. She looked over at him expecting to see blank and emotionless face that she knew was a mask to hide his true self in, but had to choke down another gasp at what she saw. Naruto had let his mask drop for her for a couple of seconds, to show her that she was not the only one who felt pain and hid who they really were. Then, like nothing ever happened, his face was blank. Naruto looked away from her, putting his elbows on the desk and leaning forward so that his face was up against his hands, hiding his mouth and the fact that he was speaking. Haha, and Naruto-kun, you understand, I will try to believe I and am myself to make myself be better, Hinata said in a broken shy voice that he could barely hear. Letting out a sigh, Naruto relaxed his posture even more before he continued. Hinata, you can't try, you just have to do. Grab a hold of something you believe in and dream for, and push yourself for that dream. I know you can do it, Hinata, and I believe you can because I see a lot of myself in you. The will to never give up even when times get too bad, and you just want to cry and shut down, but you keep going. Do not be afraid anymore, there is a whole other ugly world out there, and you need to be strong, or you will not be able to last too long in it. With that said, Naruto put his head down and went to sleep, waiting on Irika to call his name so he can try but fail again, and for the last time. Hinata, on the other hand, could not believe how wise Naruto just sounded. Giving her great advice and saying he believed in her, Hyuga Hinata, the failure of the great Hyuga clan. A small fire of hope and determination was ignited in her at that moment. This would not be put out by anything or anyone, since she now knows she has someone who believes in her. She could not be any happier than that moment she shared with Naruto, and as a single tear left her eye she bowed her head to Naruto. Arigatou gozaimasu Naruto-kun, she said with as much conviction as she could muster. Unseen by any, Naruto let out his first small genuine smile that his face has not seen in a long while. Two other people sat and watched via crystal ball the current events, and could not help but have a few smiles of their own. He will grow up to be a fine man one of these days. But only if his heart stays true and is not corrupted and destroyed by these ignorant villagers and shinobi that can't see who he really is. I totally agree with you, Yoshino-san, and a fine man and great shinobi indeed if I can convince him to take that path. The Sandaime Hokage said to Nara Yoshino as they both watched and listened in on the classroom of the genin hopefuls. So what did you call me here for, Hokage-sama? I know it is not to just watch these children. Although I am glad I got to see how my son sleeps in class, lazy just like his sloth of a father. Even if he has passed, I will have a word with him when he gets home. Sarutobi could not help but chuckle at Yoshino's antics over her lazy son. You are right, I did not call you here just for that. What I have to tell you is something I have kept secret for a long while that involves you, your husband's sister, and a child's birth on a tragic night. Naruto, come and take your test. Iruka said, poking his head out of the next room as Sasuke came out with a forehead protector tied to his head and a smirk on his face. Don't mess up, Dobe. Even though for a no-name and clanless baka like you this test is the hardest thing you will ever do. Yeah, you baka, you can only dream to be as good as Sasuke-kun, screamed Sakura as Naruto lifted up his head. Don't worry about them, and Naruto-kun, you will do fine, I am sure. Hinata, I am grateful for your words of encouragement, but this may be the last time we see each other because I won't pass. Naruto said, getting up and walking down to the testing room, leaving behind a confused Hinata. Is this the real Naruto? What has he been through to make him not want to pass? I have to find out so I can help him. No, I will find out. Hinata thought with conviction. As Naruto walked in the testing room, he could not help but pause at who he saw. The Chunin from his past, Mizuki, the one who called him a demon and was taken away to this Ibiki guy, and if Naruto was correct, he was looking to get revenge. Okay, Naruto, all you have to do is pass the 3 tests we have, and you will become a genin. The first is kunai and shuriken throwing. Seeing that target at the end of the classroom is approximately 20 meters away, he picked up 5 shuriken and 5 kunai to try to hit it. Naruto did just that and took aim and threw the shuriken all at once, with 3 hitting the target and the other 2 hitting around it. Next he threw the kunai in rapid succession, hitting the target 4 times and having the 5th one land just below. Okay, not too bad. Now I want you to henge, body change illusion, into an exact copy of me or Mizuki, and if you do that perverted jutsu you will automatically fail. Ah, come on, Iruka-sensei. Even though for you it's not modeled after a 12-year-old girl, it is a great jutsu. But fine, if you want to be a stick in the mud, then henge. Naruto said, turning into an exact copy of Mizuki, and when asked to turn around he did, and upon his back was a sign that read, I was tortured by Marino Ibiki and I liked it. Why, you little duh. That is enough. Naruto, this is not a laughing matter, and since you added that you don't pass this part. Iruka half yelled, hitting a chuckling Naruto on the head, causing the henge to falter. Oh, come on, Iruka-sensei, you have to admit that was great, and plus I do pass that part, look at his back. Naruto said with a smirk on his face. Mizuki then turned around, and right there on his back in the same spot was the sign. How did, oh never mind, just make 3 bunshin, illusionary clones, and you pass. Iruka said with a little giggle in his voice that caused Mizuki to just get angrier. I will have my pay back soon enough, you little demon. You can fool all these others, but I know you are just waiting for the right time to strike. I will get you for that torture and humiliation from last time, just you wait. Okay, here we go, time to try and then fail just like all the other times. Bunshin, Naruto said as a lot of smoke appeared, and as the smoke cleared there on the ground laid a pair of pale, sickly-looking Naruto clones. What the hell is that, Naruto? You fail. Come on, Iruka, I am sure we can let him pass. He did make 2 clones this time. Mizuki said, playing his part to try to get on Naruto's good side. But his efforts were lost, because Naruto was once again wondering why he did not feel right as his chakra formed in his body, and his mind felt half dead like it always does. I am sorry, Naruto, and you know the rules, Mizuki, they have to perform 3 flawless bunshin, and plus this would be playing favorites. All the other children made at least 3 and Naruto could not make even 1 complete one. But don't worry, Naruto, I am sure you will get it next year. Irika said with a small smile, not noticing the smirk on Mizuki's face. Both of their grins fell at Naruto's next statement because they never thought they would hear it coming from him. There will be no next time. I am not coming back to the academy. I no longer wish to become a village shinobi. And with that, Naruto walked out the room, never noticing the two shocked faces he left behind. Chikushu, damn, now what am I going to do? Oh wait, this just might work out. What was that about Naruto? Surely you have not given up. It is not like you, or is it? I will have to find out later, were the thoughts that ran through the two Chunins' head as Naruto left the room. As for Naruto, he did not even bother going back to class. Instead, he found himself back in front of the swing that he always sat at to watch as all the other kids played around with their friends when all he had was silence and the wind. Letting out a sigh as he sat down, he could not help but to remember a quote that Yoshino had told him, which he had never grasped the meaning of until a year later of being in the library. Silence, the true friend that never betrays. Off in the distance he heard the happy voices of the new Genins and their proud parents as they greeted them coming out of the building. Hey, isn't that the she? You know we are not allowed to speak of that. Remember what happened 7 years ago. I am glad it did not pass. Could you imagine what could happen if they let that thing become a shinobi? Yeah, I hate to think about it. It always scares me. Were some of the words carried over to him through the wind, putting another crack in the mask that he wore every single day. Yoshino was in that crowd and could not believe the nerve these people had. Given the news she just got from the Hokage, it made him madder and her allegiance and faith to the village slip even farther. She was just about to go over and talk to Naruto when she spotted one of their instructors head over to comfort him. Well, at least someone else can see his pain, and plus I have to go tell Shikaku what I was told. I leave you in good hands, Naruto, she thought as she walked away with Shikamaru. Oh, how wrong she was. Okay, I can do this. All I have to do is stand near him and talk friendly for just a few seconds, maybe even touch him. Mizuki thought as a shiver ran down his spine at the thought of willingly touching the demon. Oh hey Naruto, do you mind if I talk to you for a sec? When he did not get a response, he figured it was a yes and continued on. Well, I do have some good news for you, and don't mind Irika, he was just. What do you want, Mizuki team? I know you would not be talking to me unless you were forced to or want something, so what do you want? And hurry up, I want to be away for here. Why, you little demon spawn, calm down Mizuki, we will get him later. Mizuki thought with a smirk as Naruto looked up at him. So Mizuki told him all about a way to become stronger, get the scroll of seals, its location and where to meet him and at what time. I know he is lying and just wants it for himself, so I will do it to test myself and learn some things before I turn him in. With that, Naruto agreed and waited until Mizuki was out of sight, hearing him chuckle the whole time. Little did either one of them know, but someone else watched and heard the whole conversation. Hinata sat there listening to the whole thing, and after Mizuki left she was going to confront Naruto in hopes to convince him that it was a trick. As soon as she decided to move, she watched as Naruto just phased out like he was just a ghost and disappeared. What was that? Was that a jutsu? She thought, amazed, then her eyes shot open as she pictured Naruto's smirking face as he left. What are you up to, Naruto-kun? Hinata said to herself, leaving to go find Naruto. Later that night we find Naruto moving throughout the shadows of the Hokage Tower, feeling oddly comfortable in them, using a hinge to make his clothes all black but with the addition of a black face mask that covered everything from his nose on down to his neck and black scarf that hid his hair. 2 items Naruto had gotten himself a year prior to go with his hinged clothes for pulling pranks at night, so that his victims would not find him out until in the morning when he was long gone. As he made his way to the Hokage's office, true to Mizuki's word of that exact time, both ANBU members guarding the door walked off to go on a short patrol route. Once they were out of sight, Naruto quickly made his way into the office, and to his luck the Sandane was just coming out of the scroll chamber. Oh, and what do I owe this visit for, Naruto-kun, and why are you dressed and hinged like that? Sorry about this, old man, but I will explain later. Oiroku no Jutsu, sexy centerfold technique. With that, Naruto turned into his sexy female naked version, hiding the most private parts by thin wisps of smoke, leaving nothing to the imagination. As soon as Naruto blew a kiss to Sarutobi, that was all he could take, and soon flew off with his nose gushing blood as he hit the wall behind him, knocking himself out. Ha, it does not pay to be a pervert, Ojizen, Naruto said back in his black-clothed hinge form and made his way into the scroll vault. Wow, boy, would I love to have access to this room. Okay, scroll of seals, if I were you, where would I be? Naruto thought as he ran around looking for it. He soon came upon the last shelf and saw a huge scroll with the label forbidden on it. Ah, there you are, and where do I remember reading about that once? Oh well, not important, Naruto thought as he strapped it to his back. Naruto was about to leave when 2 other scrolls caught his attention. The seal for the Kyuubi. I wonder what that is about, and why does this one have the same type of symbol that Sarutobi Ojizen always wanted me to put on my clothes? Oh well, might as well take them both, I can always find out later. Naruto thought. While strapping the larger one with the familiar symbol to his leg under his pants, he pocketed the one with the seal for the Kyuubi, and made his way out the vault. Nice, I have 30 more seconds before the ANB you get back, better make a quick note to the Hokage. Nah, on second thought I'd better just get out of here. Naruto soon made his way out of the office and back the way he came, using the shadows again, getting that feeling of comfort while in them. He soon made his way out of the building and to the forest away from his meeting place with Mizuki. Naruto sat down panting as he rolled back up the forbidden scroll of seals and sat it against the tree, trying to catch his breath. His hinged clothes now back to normal but torn and dirty from practicing the jutsu in the scroll. With his black scarf lying next to him in shredded pieces, he thought over all the jutsu he was able to learn. Those that he could not learn he memorized how to learn for later use when he had better chakra control. Naruto was jarred from his mind as he heard a twig snap and a scent of cinnamon and lavender hit his nose. Come on out, I already heard you, and plus you are downwind and I have your scent, Hinata. Naruto said with a small grin on his face, but it could not be seen due to his face mask. I heard what Mizuki told you today after class, and I know it was a trick, so please tell me you did not take the scroll. Well, I can see my words to you earlier have given you a little more confidence since you are not stuttering. Also yes, I also knew it was a trick, I just went along with it to bring him out in the open and turn him in. Naruto said, making Hinata blush at the beginning of his words. Well, I am not stuttering because I feel very comfortable around you, Hinata said in a quieter voice, blushing more and making Naruto smile again, though it went unseen. Well, I thank you for your concern over me, and for being comfortable, but quick hide, Hinata. Naruto said, picking up the sound of movement right before Hinata did, and as soon as she was out of sight, Irika jumped down from the trees. Naruto, do you know what you have done? You have all the shinobi out looking for you. Explain yourself? Demanded Irika, towering over Naruto's small frame. What do you think I did it for? Just like Mizuki had said, for more power, and to make me stronger. Naruto said while dusting himself off, like what he did this night was no big deal. Calm down, Irika said to himself, taking a deep breath, only to let it out before continuing. Now what is this nonsense about Mizuki and power? Well, Mizuki team told me after the test that if I got this scroll, Naruto stated, patting the scroll that was now strapped to his back again, I could become stronger, and not have to rely on the shinobi of the village since I am not one. Would you like a demonstration of what I learned? Mizuki thought Irika. Irika, I knew you would find him now. Naruto, give me the scroll. Mizuki said, landing on a branch above them. No, Naruto, don't give it to him, he tricked you into getting the scroll. Guard it with your. He did not get to finish as he had to dodge multiple shuriken thrown at him, but some hit him in his arms and legs, also pinning him to a tree by his clothes. Shut up, it looks like I will have to kill you first, but before I do that, how would you, Naruto, like to learn an S-class secret about yourself that you are not supposed to know? What are you talking about? What secret, and why am I not to know it? Naruto asked, his interest gained for that moment. No, Mizuki, you are not allowed to talk about it. Mizuki just smiled. Irika was playing right along, and he did not even know it. Things could not have worked out any better. First he would destroy the demon mentally and emotionally, and then finally physically. You see, even Irika does not want you to know this secret. What secret? Just tell me already, Naruto yelled, getting upset but not knowing exactly why. Don't do this, Mizuki. Irika pleaded, only to have Mizuki laugh before he continued. The S-class secret about the truth of the night the Kyuubi attacked, Mizuki said, getting a gasp out of Hinata that went unheard of by all, and Naruto's eyes widening. You see, what you learned in school about the Yondaime killing the Kyuubi no Kitsune by sacrificing himself is a lie. Because no human can truly kill a demon of the Kyuubi's power and strength, so he did the next best thing. He sealed the demon into a newborn baby, sacrificing himself to Shinigami to do it, and guess what? You are that child, Naruto. You are the demon fox reborn, ha 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 ha. Now die. Mizuki yelled, throwing a Fuma shuriken at a frozen Naruto. Naruto himself was frozen as everything Mizuki told him held truth as the puzzle pieces started falling into place. The reasons for the beatings and terrible treatment at the hands of the villagers were answered in the span of a few seconds. All the times he was glared at, and spit upon, or refused entrance to food and clothing stores. And why all the parents yelled at him to stay away from their children were answered along with it. If Mizuki was right, then he did deserve all of what was done to him. Naruto was so deep in his shock and mind that he never notices the Fuma shuriken headed his way nor hear Irika as he called out his name and jump in front of him. When the warm liquid of blood splashed against his face, he barely heard what Irika was saying. The only part that got through to Naruto as Iruka and Mizuki were arguing was the fact that he once saw him as a demon but found out he was just a regular boy. Then it all clicked and the last puzzle fell in place. If the Yondaime sealed the Kyuubi into him, then that would mean they were separate, and he was just the fox's jailer, not the fox himself. That was when shock turned to sadness that they all knew he was just a boy and still treated him that way. Sadness turned to pity for the village and their ignorance. Pity turned to hate, then to anger at the village just for that same reason. They all knew, and still I am treated as lower than shit. Then his anger turned to fury at that last thought as he started harnessing his chakra. Why do you defend him when he killed your parents, huh? I defend him because he is Naruto, the hero the Yondaime told us about, for keeping the real killer at bay. Then die in your Kyuubi-loving stupidity, Iruka, Mizuki said, throwing his last Fuma shuriken at an already badly injured Iruka who could not dodge it in time. So this is how it ends, huh? I am sorry, Naruto, for not being there for you when I could, huh? Iruka-sensei was heard as it broke him out of his thoughts. As the voice and body of Hyuga Hinata came from out of the shadow to tackle him just in time, but getting a deep gash on her thigh as the Fuma shuriken hit her. Ah, she screamed as she hit the ground, rolling. Another brat. Oh well, at least I can make money off her eyes when I get out of here. All of their attention was pulled to a growing source of power that had the ground around them shaking, and the wind blowing cause of pure chakra. Naruto himself was still stuck within his mind, until he heard a familiar voice yell out, and then let out a scream out in pain. That scream and the scent of cinnamon and lavender mixed with blood snapped him back to the present, as his chakra gave one big push before calming down. He then looked up at Mizuki and smirked under his mask at his flinch. You're dead for 3 reasons, Mizuki team. First, you hurt someone who tried to defend me, and then you hurt a young girl who came to help, but your biggest mistake was trying to kill me. Mizuki did not like the look that was in Naruto's eyes. They were without any emotion, just dead and cold blue eyes. Yes, so, what are you going to do about it? That little show does not scare me. I know that is all a pitifully sealed demon like you can do, but I will kill you with one hit. Mizuki said, trying to gauge what kind of threat Naruto really was. One hit, huh? Well, let me show you a few new things I learned today. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, he said, and without the use of hand seals, as 3 other Narutos appeared standing next to him. Sending them a signal via Mind Link, Naruto and 2 clones ran after Mizuki, going up into the trees. When they got close, 2 of the clones held back and started doing hand seals, while Naruto engaged him in taijutsu. Naruto started off by sending a kick to Mizuki's gut with his left leg, as he landed on the same branch that was Mizuki on. Being a seasoned Chunin, Mizuki saw the kick coming and moved to block it. Naruto smirked as he pulled back on the kick and jumped off his right leg, spinning to his right in midair, only to hit a surprised Mizuki on the right side of his face, sending him crashing down to the forest floor below. Right before the kick hit Mizuki, Naruto's clones finished their hand seals. Katan, Dragon Flame Blast, and combined both dragons of white and blue fire to create an even bigger one. With a loud roar, the fire dragon flew straight at Mizuki as the clones disappeared, having used all their chakra in the attacks. Mizuki barely got out of the way of the full blast before the fire exploded upon contact, sending Mizuki rolling on the ground with his right side badly burned and smoking. Arrah, you filthy demon, how dare you! I will kill you! I know your game now, you are just too afraid to face me yourself. Mizuki yelled as he grabbed his only non-melted kunai in his left hand. Mizuki then ran towards the only Naruto that has not attacked, thinking that this Naruto was the real one, and he was just too afraid to attack in fear of getting hurt. Mizuki pulled back his arm, getting ready to strike down Naruto, but right before he could, Naruto smirked. Boom! Iruka shielded Hinata from most of the blasts because although she technically was a ninja now, she was still under his charge. Just like the rest of the genin until the following week when he turned them over to their Jounin senseis. As for Mizuki, he had never felt as much pain as he was now in when the clone exploded. All he saw was a bright light and felt the searing heat as his body was ripped apart and burned before losing his life, never to feel anything again. Bakuretsu Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Exploding Shadow Clone, success, Naruto said as he walked over to Iruka, who was busy wrapping a bandage across the gash in Hinata's leg. Iruka-sensei, Hinata, are you two alright? Yes, Naruto, we are. Come over here and close your eyes. Not too sure what to expect, Naruto followed what he was told to do, then heard and felt something being tied to his forehead. Okay, you can open them. The first thing that Naruto noticed when he opened his eyes was the smiling faces of both Hinata and Iruka. Then he noticed the missing forehead protector of Iruka. Congratulations, Naruto, you passed the genin exams. Naruto had a small sad smile on his face that again went unnoticed by both as he reached up and untied the forehead protector and held it in his hands as he stared at it. Hinata, do you hate me now that I have killed Mizuki team and know I am the container for the Kyuubi no Kitsune? Out of every way she could have responded, Naruto did not expect Hinata to reach up and pull his mask down, running her fingers across his whiskered cheek, before kissing him lightly right on them, and then pulled up his mask over his shocked face, giggling. No, Naruto-kun, I don't. You believed in me and saw me for who I am, so I will do the same for you, as I will always be a friend to you. We were training to be shinobi, and as shinobi we have to take lives. You took his for a reason that I approve of. I am not sure if I could have, but in the heat of battle, even as young as I am, I know you are not given much time to think. Hinata said, surprising Iruka more than Naruto with her explanation. As for having the Kyuubi sealed into you, well, in present company I will just say you have nothing to worry about from me. Once again Iruka was shocked at not only the behavior of his shyest student, but also for her reluctance to speak in front of him with her full opinion. Naruto, although knew, or rather he could piece together with what he knew of Hinata, that she may have had more information being a clan heiress. Also with how she herself was treated by others both in and outside her clan, would not want Iruka to know just her deep-seated hate, and be reported. Arigatou gozaimasu, Hinata-chan, Naruto said with a slight bow of his head, looking her dead in the eyes, conveying her received her message and will discuss it at a later point. So Naruto, what is the first thing you are going to do now that you are a shinobi of Konoha? Iruka asked, ignoring the suspicious behavior of the two, but also realizing the bad choice of words that came out of his mouth. Knowing that it was the wrong question to ask Naruto at the moment, he still wanted to know the answer. The first thing I will do is hand this Itai back to you. I do not wish to become a protector of a village where no one cares for me besides Hinata-chan, Sarutobi Ojizen, and Yoshino-san. This village would rather see me burn at the stake than wear the symbol of their supposed honorable foundation. Naruto said, handing it back to Iruka before standing up and unstrapping the scroll of seals, handing it over to Iruka and walking away. Please give that to Hokage Jiji and explain to him the events of this night, and take care of Hinata. I can feel the ANBU coming closer as we speak, but I am leaving because I am tired and I need to think. But why, Naruto? I don't understand, and why am I not on your list for people that care for you? Iruka asked, causing Naruto to stop in mid-stride. Turning around and glaring at Iruka, Naruto responded before fading out, until the only thing that lingered was his voice. If you really cared, Iruka-sensei, then you would have helped me learn better and train in the proper ways. Instead you ridiculed and resented me, and made fun of me to the expense of the laughter in class. He's right, I did do nothing but make fun of him, and the only times I took him out for ramen sometimes was out of pity. I never really cared about the boy who was suffering right in front of everyone. How does he do that? Was the last thought of Hinata as the ANBU arrived, demanding to know what had happened. So now he knows and no longer wishes to be a shinobi. I need to talk to him before he opens those other two scrolls, and then maybe I can convince him to reconsider. Konoha needs that boy as an ally in the future, and the ignorant fools make it harder to keep him every day. For now I will let him rest and talk to him once he wakes up, for the good of the village, and as its Kage I will do what I must. Naruto appeared in his apartment right behind his front door, and started walking to his bedroom feeling slightly dizzy. With enough time to unstrap the scroll from his leg and take the other out of his pocket, he reached the foot of his bed before crying out in pain as his whole body and mind exploded in pain. The last thing he noticed before passing out was that even in pain his mind felt as though things were being added while also it was clearing up, and a deep voice. It had been a full day and 2 nights since the incident with Mizuki and Naruto, and the Sandaime Hokage of Konoha was a little worried, since he has not seen nor heard of any sign that Naruto had been about. It was the 10th time this Sunday morning that he had paced around his office waiting for Naruto to walk and demanding answers, but so far it was not so. What could be taking him? I know he has found out a lot, and oh wait, he knows, and the seal, how could I forget? Wolf? Yes, Hokage-sama? Answered a male ANBU as he appeared kneeling down in front of Sarutobi. Get me Nara Yoshino here right away, and get 2 squads of ANBU over to Naruto's place to only observe, and follow him should he leave his residence. I do not want them to be detected at all, do you understand? Yes, Hokage-sama, right away, the wolf-masked ANBU said as he disappeared in a puff of smoke to go carry out his orders. I hope everything is okay and you are still you, Naruto, since one seal has been activated and the other has been destroyed. The Hokage mused while trying to remember the vast details of the specific seal. Before he could go any further, there was a knock on the door before his expected guest walked in, closing the door behind her. You called, Hokage-sama? Yoshino said, breathing slightly hard since she came here as fast as she could. With all the events that have transpired, and what she has been told, she did not want to take the chance to miss anything. Especially if it had anything to do with a specific 16, almost 17-year-old. Yes, I would like you to go to Naruto-kun's apartment, and find out if he is there. If he is, bring him to me here with no detours unless it is of the direst need. Also tell him to bring the scrolls. He will know what I am talking about once you tell him. Sarutobi told her, expecting her to go right away. Instead, Yoshino stood there staring at him, waiting to see if he would explain himself further. When it became apparent that he would not, she narrowed her eyes at him a bit, trying to figure out why he did not go himself or send one of his ANBU. Yes, Hokage-sama, Yoshino finally responded with a bow as she left in a swirl of leaves. Yoshino arrived a few minutes later in front of the apartment complex that Naruto was supposed to stay in, and walked into the front desk where sat a middle-aged woman. Excuse me, I am looking for the apartment number for a Naruto, with no family name. The lady behind the desk looked up at the sound of her voice, already deep in thought about the current resident that was asked for. At first, anger flashed across her face at the requested person, but was quickly replaced by confusion, only to give a small shake of her head and put in her business face. Yes, Naruto, let's see. Here it is. The boys' room is 13C, which is found on the top floor. Go ahead and take the stairs to your left, and you should be right on his hallway. Yoshino paused before thanking her, wondering what could be bothering her, and why it seemed she was unsure of calling him a boy, but let it pass until she was stopped. Since most likely it would have needed a derogatory name aimed at him, but now she was getting ready to cuss the lady out if she tried to warn her away from him. Excuse me, miss, the landlady trailed off, searching for a name before she continued with what she wanted. Yoshino, Nara Yoshino. Yes, Nara-sama, I was wondering if you could answer a question for me? Just a quick question about the resident you are heading to see. Well, I will try as best as I can, but I make no promises given just whom you are referring to. She said, not sure what this lady wanted, but by the expression on the lady's face she could tell whatever it was bothering her. Probably was what the lady had previously been contemplating before she was interrupted. Yes, well, since you are going to see that boy, I thought that you must know him a bit. You are the only visitor he has had since a few years ago, when the Hokage set him up with the apartment. She spoke with oblivious discomfort at the topic they were about to discuss. What I am trying to ask is what everyone says about him is true. I never had to talk to him or interact with him, only occasionally spotting him. But a few days ago I saw human emotions travel across his face, before he hid it behind that blank look he always wears. So what I am trying to ask is, do you know if that pain I saw was real? Yoshino at first was confused about what the woman was asking, but as the woman continued to speak it turned into anger. When she finally finished, getting to the point of why she stopped the Nara, Yoshino had a small smile across her face. Let me tell you this, if you had a child, and something was forced on him at birth that he had no control over, then as the years went by he received more hate and abuses in a day than most receive in a lifetime. Do you think he would be able to keep up a general expression all the time and not feel pain? The female Nara asked her, enjoying the many emotions that ran across the landlady's face as she thought about what was answered, and then asked in turn. Oh Kami, what have we done? Yoshino then left as the older woman put her face in her hand, mumbling something over and over again. It may be only one Naruto, but I think the more people that see your pain the better it will be in the long run. I just hope for your sake, it is not too late, and you have not closed yourself off, she thought as she made her way up the stairs to the third floor. Once she reached the top floor, Yoshino continued down the hall until she stood in front of 13C. The 11-year-long residence of one Naruto, Konoha's resident Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune. Not thinking anything, she tried the door, and to her surprise it was not locked. Have things really gotten so bad, Naruto, that you leave your door open, knowing that someone would take the opportunity to cause you trouble? Well, not anymore. I have been a safe haven for you in the past, and now that I know who you truly are, I will try to do more for you. You deserve more than this village could possibly give you, and then some. I just really hope it is not too late for some to redeem themselves in your eyes. Yoshino then walked into his apartment, immediately noticing the state that it was currently in. Naruto had kept it fairly clean and free of junk across the floor, but that was not what had caught her attention. It was the general state that the apartment was in, that you would not expect to be the cause from a child living alone. The walls alone all had holes that were caused by some form of weapon, both bladed and blunted. Looking over at his bookshelf, she noticed some of the books she had given him in the past had burn marks on the covers, and the edges of the pages were burned as well. Upon closer inspection, the shelf itself and the wall behind it had scorch marks that were smeared, like someone tried to clean it as best as they could. No wonder after those first few books you refused to take any more home with you. Why did you not tell me, Naruto? Continuing on, she walked to the hallway that led to his room, and looking to her right into the kitchen, she noticed that although it was clean, there had to be just about the same amount damage. Shaking her head at the lack of appliances, she paused outside his room as she gathered herself for what she knew would be the worst room. Naruto-kun? She asked softly as she slightly knocked on his door. Getting no answer after a few seconds, Yoshino opened her door and gasped as her jaw dropped and eyes widened with tears threatening to overwhelm them. For on the walls in blood red were words like demon, hell spawn, die and leave, with more holes and gash marks than both the 2 rooms outside his combined. Yoshino then looked down to see Naruto in ripped and tattered clothing that had bloodstains on it, and dried blood all around him. Panicking and fearing the worst had happened, Yoshino dropped down to her knees and released the tears that she could no longer hold back, asking why? As the realization on just how bad Naruto may have had it, if this room was any indication to go by, hit her. Then she saw his leg twitch as a moan drifted to her ears. Relieved, she placed her hands down to get up and move to him, but stopped when she felt a rock with a paper attached to it by rubber band. Curiosity perked, she grabbed it and brought it up to her face and pulled the paper off and read it. Get out of this village, demon, you are not welcome. Not believing what she just read, she looked up to see another one. She grabbed it and read, do us all a favor and kill yourself, monster, you are corrupting the air we breathe. Looking around some more, she noticed the holes in his window, and then her eyes fell on his dresser, or rather what was in the 3rd open drawer. Moving over to it, she opened it to only stare in disbelief as the whole thing was filled to the top with more rocks, and what she knew were more hate notes. Hoping that was it, she opened the last 2 drawers only to find the same things. After reading the first couple of them, I stopped, figuring they were all pretty much about the same things. Naruto stated, slowly standing up, stretching a bit. Most of them are very old and from the time when I first moved in here, the rest are pretty new. Startled by a voice she did not recognize, Yoshino jumped up, then turned around, backing up a bit, pulling out a kunai, while easing into a defensive stance, looking at the one that had spoken. Naruto-kun, is that you? Yes, who else would it be? I am the only one who has the Kyuubi sealed into him, isn't that right, Nara-san? Taken aback by his sharp tone of voice, Yoshino did not even register that he knew about the Kyuubi. What happened to you, Naruto-kun? You look different, and you're taller. Huh, was the only reply he could give as he walked towards the bathroom to his mirror, trying to figure out what she meant. On the way there, Naruto could not help but notice that his body felt a little restricted, but also lighter, and his movements a little more agile and balanced, which could only be achieved by years of training. His thought process was also a lot clearer, and he could recall everything he has learned or read, like he just finished learning them. His vision was sharper, clearer, and he could see things in greater detail, although he wished it was not his apartment that was in such fine detail. Sounds came to him that he was sure he could not hear just the days prior, like the dripping sound of his leaky shower faucet, and he could smell the mildew and rust odors so clear it almost made him sick. When Naruto looked up into the mirror, his heart jumped a bit, for staring right back at him was not the same eyes that he was used to looking at every day in the mirror. Staring back at him was a pair of almond-shaped eye sockets, which had a dark outline with darker amethyst-colored eyes. There in the middle of his eyeballs were slits running down the middle, where his round pupils used to be. On closer inspection, the slit in his eyes was not black in color but were a darker maroon color that seemed to draw the light into them with no escape. Even though his eyes changed physically, they still reflected a deep sadness and pain that no amount of healing he knew could fix, or at least not anymore. The only thing that was different about his eyes when you looked into them was the fact that they no longer held any warmth, but a coldness that could make a seasoned warrior pause. His ears were a little longer, and were also pointed with tufts of golden hair at the very tips. It would be almost unnoticeable unless you knew what to look for, or his hair was not covering his ears. Looking over the rest of his face, he noticed that his hair, albeit still spiky, was longer, thicker, and if possible more untamed. His hair color was also darker. It had a reddish tint to it that made his hair look more golden than the sunshine blonde he always had. Naruto, afraid of what he might find underneath it, reached up to pull his mask down but stopped halfway there, looking at his fingers. They were slightly longer and had claws instead of fingernails, and panicking on what this could all mean, Naruto willed them to go away, and to his surprise his claws retreated into his fingers. Making note of it, Naruto willed them back out, watching how his nails split down the middle, and out of the middle of the split claws came out. Satisfied, Naruto retracted them back and proceeded to pull down his mask. Yoshino did not know what to make of this Naruto. He looked and sounded different than the last time she saw him, which was just 2 days ago. Even the way he talked to me when he said, "Oh Kami, how did he find out?" Sandaime expressed he is not supposed to know. Oh well, no sense dwelling on that fact now. I have to get him to the Hokage so we both can figure out what is going on, Yoshino thought as she made her way to get Naruto. She walked into the bathroom just as he pulled down his mask, and once again a gasp escaped her lips. So I am a demon, Naruto stated for a fact, as he looked at the lower part of his face. Naruto's baby fat was gone, showing an angular-shaped jaw line. Where the 3 thin whisker marks were, now lay thicker and darker whisker marks that had a jagged look to them. On top of that, his canines were now sharper and longer, hanging just over his bottom lip, with the bottom two while longer than normal was still hidden. No, Naruto-kun, you are not a demon, you. Look at me, do I even look human at all? Everyone was right all these years, I am just a monster. Naruto said quietly at the end, dropping his head. Yoshino then grabbed Naruto into a hug which he stiffened at since he has never had a hug let alone any other person-to-person contact before. After a minute or two he relaxed in the hug, and held her back in a tight squeeze, burying his head into the crook of her neck. Realizing that he was now standing at the same height as her, where before he only came up to her chest. It's okay, Naruto, I am here for you as I have been since the day you walked into the library, go ahead and let it out. And so for the first time since the night of his 5th birthday, Naruto cried. Yoshino's motherly instincts took over, and she started rubbing his back, whispering things to comfort him, but she did not know what to really say to him, so she just spoke to him. Shh, Naruto, it will all work out, you are not a monster, and those that you let help you with your pain and see behind the real you, will also learn to care for you like myself. She was going to mention the Hokage, but in light of things she just found out, she had her doubts. He is the Hokage after all, and the village is his primary concern, not to mention how Jinchuriki are considered weapons and village property. Yoshino was about to continue talking, but Naruto started to speak so softly she didn't but had to strain to hear him. When I was younger, I heard this song that seemed to be made just for me, and at the same time mocked me, but I remembered it anyway. On nights that I came close to just ending it all while crying, I would just look up at the moon and sing a part of that song that seemed to stay with me the most. Naruto paused and pulled away from Yoshino, walking back into his room, before stopping in the middle of his room, looking around, remembering all the hate he has endured since he could remember. Yoshino was going to ask him about the song he mentioned, but stopped as she heard a soft and gentle voice start singing. Can anybody out there hear me, 'cause I can't seem to hear myself? Can anybody out there see me, 'cause I can't seem to see myself? There's gotta be a heaven somewhere, can you save me from this hell? Can anybody out there feel me, 'cause I can't seem to feel myself? I'm losing my way, keep losing my way, keep losing my way, can you help me find my way? Naruto stopped and turned around to look at Yoshino with a guarded expression and spoke before she could respond. Of course the moon never answered back, but it was the only thing that was a constant part of my life. No matter what, when I looked for it, the moon was always there waiting on me. But no more, I will no longer sit back and let this village run over me. I refuse to be weak any longer. Today was the last time I show any weakness. They saw him as a demon, well then he would be their demon when they crossed his path. Naruto, crying is not a weakness, it just proves that you are human and still have a heart. Also Naruto, when was the last time you almost gave in and had to sing that song? Not knowing what she was getting at, he told her 2 months passed, but did not tell her that if he did not pass out when he came back the other night he might have given in completely. Well, we have spent as much time as necessary in here. Now go on and get in the shower and get cleaned up before we get you some new clothes, because you have an important meeting with the Hokage. I will not tell him what it is about because then he would want to go straight there. Plus this is long overdue for him getting proper things. Not to mention I want him to clear his head a bit, and I am kind of hungry. Telling him that, Yoshino left his room, closing the door and giving him some privacy. It was 15 minutes later that Naruto came out, and the only thing he had that fit, which was a gray sweat set. He had found it when he was younger, fairly new, in the trash, but it was really big. So he took it with him to wash, and until this morning could not fit in it, but it would have to work for now. Naruto had his face mask back in place, covering the lower half of his face from his nose on down. He had his hair falling down around his face and back since it now reached the bottom of his shoulder blades. Yoshino looked up when he came in and could not help her eyes widening at his sight. Standing at 5 feet and 6 inches tall for a 16-year-old was a good height, and she could tell that either he would be tall when he got older or reach just above the average height of 5'8". His dark golden locks hung down, reminding her of a dear lost friend and brother-in-law, with 2 thick locks coming down on the sides of his face reaching his collarbone. While the top of his head was spiky and untamed, letting some of his hair to fall over his forehead and into his eyes, while the rest hung down open in the back. She could not tell what his body shape was like, but from the little bit she saw earlier, she could tell he had hard muscles only obtained through rigorous training. Here, take this and tie the back of your hair in it, she said, handing him her black silk ribbon that she had holding her hair up, letting it in turn fall down her back to her butt. Naruto took the ribbon and did as he was told, and then looked back up, letting her know he was ready to go. Yoshino smirked as she looked at his relaxed yet guarded posture, and knew he would be in trouble later. You're going to have to beat the entire fangirls club off of you pretty soon with the way you look now. That won't be necessary, when all I have to do is tell them my name, and they would lose interest. Yoshino could only drop her smile at that, but could not tell if it was because of the type of attitude the village forced upon him. or whether the simple fact of what he said was most likely true. Anyway, Naruto, let's go. Oh, and before I forget, Sandaime-sama wanted you to bring the scrolls or whatever, he said you would understand. Naruto nodded, knowing exactly what was meant, and went back into his room to get the 2 scrolls, putting them into the front pocket opening of his sweat top before coming back out. Okay, we can go now to this store of yours, but I am sure they won't let me, and I have been to every one of them. Oh, he will trust me, and I don't think you met him yet, or you would know you could go into his store. Not willing to start an argument, Naruto decided to just go out, followed closely by Yoshino. Once they reached down to the main lobby, Yoshino told Naruto to go and wait for her outside because she forgot something. Not thinking anything of it, he did as was asked and went outside, but was immediately put on guard as he noticed at least 8 ANBU in the area. Yes, you do have a lot of explaining to do, old man. 2 ANBU squads watching me in my place? Did you forget I am a censor? Naruto thought as he decided to stretch, getting used to his changed body. Back inside, Yoshino walked up to the older woman with a straight stone-faced look on, obviously upset. You know, I noticed that Naruto-kun's door had no signs of a break-in, yet as I was inside I could not help but notice all the damage and hate messages all around his apartment. That leads me to believe either it was a skilled shinobi or that those responsible were being let in, and I believe it is the second, she said, glaring down on the woman, causing the woman to put her head down. The woman was not stupid and knew since the response this Nara had given her earlier that she was connected to the boy, and hearing the affectionate Kun added to his name only reinforced that thought. She also realized that based upon her answer she would either be taken in or let off. We let them in whenever they came by to deface and try to scare him away, or just destroy him emotionally. Now I am starting to see the mistakes that I made, but I don't know what to do to try and say I am sorry. Words like that after so long won't mean anything to him. I still can't let go of my hate, but slowly it is being redirected to where I think it should be at. Well, it is a start, and let me say that you guys reached one of your goals, because that boy is torn and in too much emotional pain that I don't think it will ever heal. As for making up for your mistakes, you can start by repairing his whole apartment, destroying everything except his books, and get him brand new things including a washer and dryer. How does that sound as a start to repaying him? Well, good. I expect it all to be done by sunset, and don't tell me you can't get it done, because I know you can, Yoshino said as she turned around and left, not giving the woman any time to disagree or protest. Come on, Naruto-kun, let's go, she said, and started walking off to the shop she told Naruto she would take him to. Only for following us, ha, I guess they don't recognize me this way, oh well, Naruto concluded when he felt one ANBU squad follow, and the other remaining in place. Hey Naruto-kun, I think you should use a genjutsu or henge to hide your eyes, Bika. No, I will not hide behind any more masks to hide who I am. This facial mask is the only thing I will use for obvious reasons. I have been hiding for too long, and if the people cannot stand to look at me, then too bad, they can look elsewhere. I don't care anymore, and if it gets too bad I will just leave. I am not a shinobi of this or anyone's village, so I am not bound by those shinobi laws. So even if I do leave, I won't be considered a missing ninja and be hunted. While she could not help but agree, she hoped that it did not get to the point that he felt the only option left is to leave. Even if he was not technically a shinobi, I don't think the shinobi council and elders will just let the vessel of Kyuubi go. As the two continued to walk, they both noticed the stares that they were getting, or rather the ones sent in Naruto's direction. While most were trying to figure who he was, she noticed more than half the blushing females looking below his waist. Naruto-kun, is there a reason some of these girls won't look at you above the waist? Yoshino asked, glancing over to Naruto, noticing his body stiffen up, making him falter in his next step. She could tell he was embarrassed about something due to his right arm coming up and scratching the back of his head. This was something that ever since he was little he did when responding to embarrassment, or something he was uncomfortable with. She just did not know what it was until he spoke. Well, it possibly be because I am not wearing any underwear, he said, stuttering and finishing off quickly. I guess with my new size I none of any set of clothing I had fit. So let us just hurry up to the store since you decided to point that out, Naruto stated, quickening his step now that he was brought aware of what most of the staring from the females was about. Embarrassed about the subject and that she brought it up instead of just leaving it alone, Yoshino did not bother to reply and just continued on with him, and only thinking about other reasons the populace would look towards him. Those that recognized his hair color, though a different shade and along with a change in his eyes, sent glares of hatred towards him. Until he looked at them with his cold, silted fox-like eyes and subconsciously released killer intent, which nearly made them lose control of their bladders. As for the female population, those of age and some older ones, could not help but blush as he walked by. Many wanted to know who the big, foxy-looking blonde was. The girls who had enough nerve to go introduce themselves to him were only met with cold indifference and ignored. You know you don't have to completely close yourself off to those that just want to meet you. They don't want to meet me, Yoshino-sen, they want to meet the mysterious blonde they see walking down the street. I would doubt they would want to meet the real me anyway. Besides, even if I did acknowledge them as soon as they told their parents who they met, I would never see them again. So no, I will not fool around and waste time with those who don't even know me from a hole in the ground. Well, you could always just not wear the mask and start socializing. She was about to go on about why, until she saw the look in his eyes, and could not help but swallow and hold back her words. Man, he has such mean eyes. Just what the hell has this village done to him? Okay, here we are, Hirogashi's Shinobi Apparel and Weapons Shop. Shinobi Apparel, I am not a ninja. I don't need this shop and I need to go talk to the old man. Not to mention demons are not allowed in this store. Naruto-kun, listen to me and listen well, because I am only going to say this once. Regardless if you are a shinobi or not, you will be training. I know you will, and the only clothes that can stand up to that type of wear and tear are shinobi-made clothes. Plus you will need training gear and weapons to defend yourself, not to mention the everyday ninja accessories. Just because you are not a village shinobi does not mean you can't use the stuff. Also, I am to bring you with me to the Hokage, so you're stuck with what I want. With that, she walked into the store, not even looking back to see if Naruto followed her, because she knew he would. Now I want you to go and pick out some stuff to wear, and she started when he followed her in, only to trail off due to Naruto's heading dropping and a slight change in his mood. What's wrong, Naruto-kun? I don't know what to look for. I have never actually had a chance to shop before, he responded very quietly. Cursing her stupidity and forgetfulness, Yoshino grabbed his hand and led him to the male section and helped pick out some clothes that were his size. When they were done, Naruto had 4 pair of ANBU style pants, which had hidden pockets all around it, and had a fine metal chain mail sewn on the inside for better protection. Choosing this style over the others, due to only ANBU pants having the external rings to attach leg armor to. Wanting to blend into the shadows, Naruto, with the help and opinion of Yoshino, picked out one black pair that had a dark maroon lightning pattern coming up from the bottom of the pants to about mid-thigh, which was outlined in non-reflective silver. One dark maroon pair which had a black lightning pattern coming up, also outlined in silver. The other 2 were a midnight blue color that had the same dark color amethyst of his eyes and the lightning pattern. For his shirts he chose skin-tight sleeveless silk turtleneck tops, in the matching color of the lightning for each pair of pants that he had, so it not only blended in but matched. For an overshirt he picked out the fishnet long sleeve that dropped down to his waist. He also picked out 2 pairs of regular NBU-style shin guards, arm guards, chest and back plates in black, with growth seals on them. The last items he picked out were 4 pairs of training clothes in the same pattern as his shinobi gear, just in different material, meant for training only. Do you want me to wait while you put those on, or are you going to wait to wear them? I am going to wait until I start training again to wear them, but I am going to go put some underwear on. Besides, I am comfortable in these sweats. After grabbing a bigger sized pack of boxer briefs and going in the changing hour to put them on, Naruto went and grabbed 12 more pairs of boxer briefs in his new size, and 2 pairs of black shinobi boots before pushing his cart behind Yoshino to the weapons section. Ah, Yoshino-san, I thought that was you that came in. So what do I owe the honor of your visit? I know it's not because you need something since you retired after having Shikamaru. She smiled as she walked up, not noticing Naruto hang back a little. Well, I am here on a business as well as a pleasure trip for my next project, Naruto here. As she said that, quickly covering up her near slip, she stepped to the side, motioning towards Naruto. Naruto? Naruto? Oh, that Naruto, he said, narrowing his eyes. Yoshino, I respect you and all, but why did you have to bring that day? He did not get to finish as he was slapped hard across his face and then grabbed by the throat with a shadow hand and dragged into the back room. Naruto, on the other hand, knew what he was going to say and had the right mind to just leave, but he did not want to upset Yoshino, so he stayed. Not too long after the door shut, he heard raised voices before a loud "He's what?" This came from behind the door of the room they disappeared into before the man Naruto guessed was Hirogashi came out, followed closely by Yoshino. You boy, take off that mask and let me see your face, he demanded, coming to a stop 5 feet from Naruto. Naruto looked over to Yoshino and, seeing her nod, gave his answer. No. What? I said no, only those that I am close to and trust will ever see my face. You are not one of those people, since they number only 2, and 1 is standing behind you. Although that was not what she wanted him to do, Yoshino could not blame him for his response either. Why, you little, Hirogashi began to say as he took a step forward, but stopped as he felt the spike of 2 killing intents, 1 from in front of him and 1 from behind, both surprising him. Take another step and I will rip out your throat. I still remember your face, your broom, and your kunai that you used on me when I was younger, Hirogashi-san. Naruto said, at first angry, then calming down until he spit his name out like venom. Surprising not only himself with it but Yoshino also, his voice had a deep growl to it that never happened to him before this day. If anything, Hirogashi should have been mad, but for some reason he felt fear. Me, a seasoned and retired shinobi, feeling fear from a 16-year-old brat, and what is up with his eyes? He thought, and only shrunk back more as he felt the killing intent rise from Yoshino when she heard what he did to a younger Naruto. Just sell us what we want so we can be on our way, she said, coming to stand next to Naruto, putting a hand on his shoulder to help calm him down since his killing intent had not came down yet. With a nod of his head, he got what they asked for, which was 6 sets of shuriken, kunai, smoke bombs, and exploding tags, along with 4 leg holsters of the best material. Naruto also picked out 3 medical kits, 1 tube of solidar, blood, and food pills that carried 20 small vials each. Anything else you need or want, Naruto-kun? Can I get a few empty storage ceiling scrolls and a wooden training katana that can be weighted by the addition of chakra? Oh, and that book on gravity seals? Yoshino smiled, looking over at all the things Naruto picked up, because for someone who was set on not being a village shinobi, he sure did shop like one, but at least he was serious about his training. Okay, that's it, Hirogashi. Can you put all this in a scroll for him? Oh wait, I also need these, Naruto said, grabbing 2 rolls each of medical tape in the same colors he picked out earlier. He also grabbed 3 more face masks in the same colors, and also 2 chakra-weighted dark gray trench coats that went down to his ankles, also having growth seals on them. Once everything was gathered and sealed, Hirogashi handed the scroll to Naruto, who put it in his front pocket and told them the price. Hearing the price, Naruto paled a little and handed over his Gamachan wallet to Yoshino, who stopped him. Not this time, Naruto. All this is paid for by Hirogashi-san here as an apology for his rude treatment of you. Not to mention of me saving his head for almost breaking that Hokage's law, she said, waving her hand out across him, while Hirogashi's eyes went wide, but before he could say anything she continued. It is either that, Naruto-kun, or we report to Hokage-sama when we see him that Hirogashi-san here nearly violated his law until I intervened. Then he entertained thoughts to and started to attack a citizen of Konoha. What do you say, Naruto-kun? Naruto could not help but smirk, although no one noticed because of his mask. I think it is an oh-so-fair proposition, Yoshino-san, since I do recall the penalty for breaking the third's law with speaking about or comparing the Kyuubi to me, let alone in front of me, is torture and death without trial. Yoshino had to stifle a chuckle at the look on Hirogashi's face as he heard Naruto summarized what would have happened to him had he continued or was not stopped by herself. Hirogashi, on the other hand, could not believe Naruto was speaking about the law like he Okami he knows, but how, he is not supposed to know, someone must have told him. So what do you say, Hirogashi-kun? She said, dragging out the last part. Oh why yes, sure, no problem, be sure to shop here again, fair prices for all, he said, falling down on his butt as Naruto and a giggling Yoshino exited the store. Well, that was fun. We were supposed to go straight to the Hokage's office from your apartment, but he did say unless it was a dire need, and clothes for you and a good laugh is a dire need. No need to go straight to his office on edge just asking for things to blow themselves out of proportion. I agree with you, Yoshino-san, and I think eating is also a dire need. What do you think? The old man has a lot to answer for, so I say let him sweat a little, wondering what is taking so long. Obesan, aunt? Huh? Naruto asked, a little confused at why she would throw that in there. Call me Obesan, Yoshino-san is too formal for my taste, and yes, I think food is a good idea, she replied, having more than just that reason for him calling her Obesan. I'm okay, Yoshino Obesan, how about some dango, sweet dumplings? Naruto said, trying out the unfamiliar term and title for the first time. Yes, sounds good, but you're paying. What? Why am I paying? I don't have that much money as it is, Naruto said with an invisible pout. Seeing him acting like this brought warmth inside her for being the one to bring it out of him, proving that underneath it all he was still innocent, and just a victim in a messed up world. Knowing that she was probably the only person that would get to see this side of him, she could not complain much. Although it was sad to think about it, it was not enough to dampen her spirits enough to destroy the mood they created together. Well, I just got you a lot of free stuff, which was pretty expensive, might I add, and plus I saw your Gamachan wallet, it was almost bursting with the money you had in it. Leave Gamachan out of this, and I helped you convince him to give it to us for free, heh, you saw his face when he found out I knew about the law and everything else, but fine, I will pay this time, but you owe me. Okay, deal, nice doing business with you, kid, she said, ruffling his hair as they walked to the nearest dango shop. Once they were inside the food shop, they both walked up to the counter bar and ordered 4 servings each. Looking around for a place to sit, Naruto saw someone who fit the description of a person that he only was told of. Looking at her while she sat at the table by herself, he noticed that her eyes reflected her inner turmoil. A reflection that his own held when thinking about the treatment he had to endure or thinking about his life in general. It's her. This is the first time I remember to have seen her, so why does it feel like I have known her for a long time, and why does she look so sad? What are you looking at, Naruto-kun? Yoshino asked before looking into the direction he was staring in. So he recognizes her, huh? Well, let's go introduce them officially. Come on, Naruto, and let me introduce you to one of my friends. Before she notices you staring, and decided to cause a scene, or attack you outright, she said, walking over to the lonesome female which everyone in the establishment seemed to be avoiding. Yoshino-san, what brings you here? Come to eat and scope out the young men with me. The purple-headed and brown-eyed Tokubetsu, special, Jonin asked, getting a blush out of the approaching person while looking up at a familiar face of Nara Yoshino. And no, you know I am married. Geez, do you have to say things like to me all the time? I actually wanted you to meet someone, and this is Naruto? Yoshino said, embarrassed a bit, which smoothed out, but turned confused because she thought Naruto was right on her heels. Looking back, she noticed Naruto still standing at the bar, only to hear the laughter of her friend. Haha, so who is it you wanted me to meet, a ghost, or does he have a jutsu surrounding him? I do love shy guys, they are so fun to break, and she trailed off as the person walked towards them, and she looked up and into the eyes of one Uzumaki Naruto. It's that Gaki, his eyes are different, but it's that boy from 11 years ago. Why is he looking at me like that? Like he knows something or trying to figure out something familiar? Yoshino did not understand the response her friend had when she looked at Naruto, so she just decided to stay quiet and let it play out. Naruto watched as the woman stood up and walked over to him, only to stop right in front of him with their faces inches apart. Watching her as she walked up, Naruto noticed that all she wore was a trench coat and a fishnet bodysuit that did not hide anything. A very short skirt and some combat knee-high shin-guarded boots. Noticing her bra-free breasts sway with her movements, with not even a flesh-colored shirt to keep them hidden or her coat buttoned, Naruto was glad that he had his mask on, because he could feel his face go hot as a blush came hit him full force. Hey Gaki, kid, didn't you ever learn that it is not polite to stare? Narrowing his eyes, he smiled as he watched her take a step back under his stare, although the smile never reached his eyes. I don't know what caused it all, but how can you do it? Naruto asked, making Anko screw her face up in confusion while trying to figure out what he meant. What are you talking about, Gaki? Do you even know who I am? You are Mitarashi Anko, Tokubetsu Jonin, ex-apprentice to the trader Snake Sannin Orochimaru, and one who has carried a burden since you were 12. Naruto said, tapping a spot on his left shoulder in the same spot that held her cursed seal. I know who you are. So I ask again, how do you deal with all the pain and hate of the village and can still act like it does not affect you? Anko took another step back, not believing that this boy knew about her most guarded and darkest secret, something that he should not know but did. Then again, with the whole village openly talking about her when she is near and expressing their hate, anger, and spitefulness, she really was not that surprised. How? Was all she could ask, not knowing what else to say. Know exactly what the person in front of him was asking. Naruto gave her a nod telling her so and gave his answer. Your eyes, they were just like what I am used to when looking into the mirror. Yet when Yoshino Basin came up to you, it is like what you were just thinking about did not even bother you. Taken aback, Anko could only respond in a way she always did when someone came to close. I don't know what you are talking about, Gaki. I am not one to mess with unless you want your life snuffed out before you could even get your dick wet. Hey Yoshino, this Gaki has some nerve talking to me like that and asking questions about his betters. You should advise him next time to watch it, or else he may catch me on a day I am not in a good mood and I feed him to my snakes. Anko said, turning around and walking back to her table to finish her dango. Yoshino could only shake her head at how Anko responded, finding herself getting mad at her young and stupid friend for how she spoke to Naruto. She was just about to say something, but stopped as Naruto walked up handing her the dango she ordered, keeping his own. Arigato gozaimasu Mitarashi-san, I thank you for helping me that night 11 years ago, and for not being just another ignorant soul like the rest of the people in this village. One of these days I will pay you back to make sure your deed does not go unrewarded one way or the other. Naruto said, bowing, and then walked out of the shop, not looking back, already thinking of a way to do just what he said. Both Anko and Yoshino were surprised by his actions, and after sending Anko a "we will talk later" and disappointed look, Yoshino followed after Naruto. Finishing her dango, Anko left to do the only thing that she could to take her mind off of things, training in the forest of death. But even with training, she knew she would not get what the boy said to her, and his eyes to leave her mind. Well, let's go, we can eat these in the Hokage's office, Yoshino said, catching up to Naruto talking about the dango, only to see his already gone, so she decided to eat hers then and there. Hurry up so I can show you a way to travel I came up with, because I am tired of ANBU following us. There were many surprised faces as Naruto said that, Yoshino for one since she did not know ANBU were there, and the ANBU because Naruto knew they were there when they tried their hardest to stay hidden. Man, I must be getting lax if I could not sense them, Yoshino thought. Once Yoshino finished eating and throwing the stick away, Naruto put his hand on her arm, allowing them both to phase out, making the ANBU panic because they could not follow them. The Sandaime Hokage was currently smoking his pipe doing paperwork to try to get his mind off of Naruto, and where he and Yoshino were. He knew he was going to have to speak about and give away a few secrets in the up-and-coming hours, but also there were some that he could not for the safety of the village. He hoped that Naruto did not read the other scroll he took with the Namikaze clan crest on it, knowing that if he did it would be next to impossible to get him to stay and become this village's ninja. If he did not, then he knew with the relationship he created with Naruto, that he could convince him to not read the scroll or just get it back. Not wanting to give Naruto any more time with that scroll, Hiruzen was going to send another ANBU when he felt two forms of chakra come to life within his office. When he looked up at the spot he could feel it originate from, Hiruzen saw Yoshino standing next to someone who he did not recognize but figured it was Naruto, because Yoshino would not show up without him. Plus, with his knowledge of the seals that were on Naruto, he could guess that was the cause of the change. I am guessing you know what is going on, Hokage, since there's no surprise seeing me like this, and the fact you had two teams of ANBU watching my apartment that also followed me, Naruto said, narrowing his eyes. To Sarutobi, that statement gave him a pang of guilt and sadness since Naruto never called him by his title, and the fact that with those actions it looked like he did not trust Naruto. Those were quickly squashed with his duty to the village as its Hokage, and no matter what he felt about the boy, he would not allow his feelings to come in between the safety of his village. He destroyed his relationships with his own family with his choices, so Naruto was not too much of a concern, only what he could do with the powers he would get and the status he held by just being who he was. You have to understand, Naruto, that Hokage-sama, we lost track of Naruto and Yoshino-sen. They interrupted a rabbit-masked ANBU after Shun shining in, only to be interrupted himself by Naruto. Are right behind you, and if you don't mind, we were busy, Naruto said in a calm voice, startling the rabbit-masked ANBU, who turned around and got into a defensive posture. His eyes, I knew it. Hokage-sama, look at that demon's eyes. I knew he was the Kyuubi. Let me kill Ugh. Before he could finish his sentence, Yoshino had moved forward quickly and stabbed the masked ANBU in his throat with his own tanto, not willing to listen to the ignorance and hatred of the ninja as he violated the third's law right in front of all of them. She was about to speak, but three more ANBU appeared surrounding the Hokage, each brandishing their ANBU-issued tanto at Yoshino and more so at Naruto. Hokage-sama, what is the problem? Should we arrest her? And before he could finish his statement, the Hokage cut him off, knowing what was about to be said and saving him from Yoshino. No, it is quite all right. He violated my law in front of us all, and Nara Yoshino just issued the penalty for it. Now please remove the body and clean up this mess, Hiruzen said strongly, watching his ANBU pause, looking at them before picking up the body and disappearing in a puff of smoke. The remaining ANBU went off a few hand seals, speaking softly before the blood that was in the office vanished. Would that be all, Hokage-sama? Asked the same ANBU wearing the captain's white cloak. Yes, and would you please tell my secretary that I will not be taking any visitors until further notice, no matter who they are, or what the issue is. Yes, Hokage-sama, the ANBU said before saluting and left without the usual puff of smoke, showing the high control the ANBU had. As soon as they left, Naruto and Yoshino sat down in the chairs across from the Hokage, neither willing to speak first, so they just waited for the Hokage to gather his thoughts. Well, now that you two are here, we can start. I imagine that you have a few questions you want answered based upon your change and finding out about the Kyuubi, Hiruzen said, watching as Naruto sat there with a vast amount of questions surfacing in his mind, but the one that he asked first was not what either the Sandaime or Yoshino had thought. Who are my parents? Before you answer, just know that I will not accept any excuses anymore. You are the Hokage and would know something like the parents are of a child who was chosen on containing the Kyuubi. At this point, I don't care anymore on why you kept it from me, or anything, I just want the names. Because if I hear you kept it from me with a lame excuse that there are a lot of enemies my parents have, I'll leave right now. That excuse is just that, an excuse. No one in their right mind can say that my parents' enemies will kill me if I have the knowledge. For the simple fact of how will any of them know you told me, all you had to do was express the fact on how important that information is. No? Naruto said, pausing to let what he said sink in and to take a breath. He knew that all people, regardless on how close you are, will keep things from you if they think it is for the best. The Hokage of the village, the most apparent, who knows how many secrets he kept from everyone for personal and professional reasons. Also, if you don't want to answer, that is fine, but know that you will have lost my trust in you, Hokage, and I will leave this village and head to the fire capital and plead my case there at once. I should be able to get in right away as the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune, which I am positive they know of. There are just too many things hidden from me, and I can't live in a place that wants to kill me and hide so many truths from me anymore. These are things that I have a right to know, and if you don't want to give me what is mine by right, then I will just leave and never associate with all that you would call yours. Being as though you are the Hokage of Konohagakure, that covers a lot. Sarutobi did not know how to respond. At first he was angry at how he was being spoken to and the threats he received. He was contemplating on just having Naruto controlled and not even entertaining his questions, but with the knowledge that he did have on the seal, knew it to be a bad idea. Hiruzen did not go into any further thought about it, and smiled because he was about to go into how and why it was kept from him, and then decide to tell him that he was not ready to know. But with what Naruto just said, he found himself backed into a corner, and was further pushed in when Naruto brought out a scroll that had a seal on it in the shape of a certain clan's crest. I also have this, and based on what I remember about seals, there is a blood seal on it. I also figured that this infinity with the sun and moon in its loops is my clan symbol, because ever since I was little you had the same symbol on all my jackets and shirts. Damn, that seal sure did give him his mind back. He was never this sharp or quick. Namake's Minato the Yondaime Hokage and Namake's Nara Mania were your parents. A gasp of surprise left Naruto as he was told that, but then he realized that one question he had was answered about why he was chosen, and he could only gain a little respect for his father for putting aside his pride and choosing his own son rather than force someone else's child with this burden. With that respect was also came anger and hate that his very own flesh and blood decided to sacrifice both of them to save a village filled with fools that would treat their own the way they do for whatever reason. Not even leaving a concrete plan to make sure that he was taken care of, or if he did that it was implemented. Then that would mean that Naruto said as he trailed off. Yes, that you are the son of a Hoka. No, that is not what I was going to say, I don't care about that. Naruto said, surprising both of them that he could wave off something like that without a second thought. It would mean that I am related to Yoshino, and have had a family the entire time I have been suffering. Both of them could only smile at the fact that he came to that conclusion first instead of making a big deal out of whose son he was. The smile quickly fell as he continued his sentence, making the room go silent. Your actual obeisance, to be exact, Amenii is the younger twin sister of my husband Shikaku, and my best friend. And yes, that is why I wanted you to call me obeisance, now you know it is official. She said with a smile on her face, but it soon dropped at the look in his eye. When did you find out? Naruto asked in a cold voice that sent a shiver down both their spines no matter how trained they were. They knew what he had inside of him, and if he got mad enough to release the Kyuubi they would all be doomed. Sandaime-sama told me the day of the genin exams. When I found out I was happy, mad, and sad to be told after 12 years of thinking you were dead and the fact that everything you have been through could have been avoided. I truly hate this village. Don't say that, Naruto, it was the council who forbade me to reveal the truth about your birth. Hiruzen said, automatically defend any part of his village that was talked bad about. All the more reason since they represent the village. First for lying about my birth, convincing all that I was an orphan, and keeping me from my family. They could have just let the Naras adopt me and still hold the truth, but no, they did not even want to consider the demon to have any family. Second, the whole village knew I was the carrier of the Kyuubi, and not the demon itself. I will never forgive them for all the pain they have caused me. Let us not forget about you who are the Hokage, the absolute in a shinobi village. I have read about the hierarchy of the ninja society, and how it is supposed to be run, but in this village the Hokage is a joke. Naruto. Enough, he yelled, cutting the Sandaime off. I can understand hiding it for the populace due to the enemies of the Yellow Flash, but not from my family and me. Now no more about it. I will read this scroll if I want to learn more about my father, his family and clan, assuming the Namake's was a clan. If it was anyone else and the situation was different, Naruto would not have gotten away with the outburst he had, and he knew that fact, so he tried to rein in his temper for the time being. So getting a nod out of the Hokage, who did not want to even continue the subject for where it might lead, he continued. Now why do I look like this? And what is so important about my seal that it has to be put into its own scroll, and not just put into the scroll of seals? Naruto, for the best explanation on that you will first have to read the scroll. As for why you look like that, I am not too sure, but it might have to do with the suppression seal you had on you. What I do know about the seal was that there were only 2 ways for the seal to come off, and that was if someone with the knowledge of it took it off. Or you found out about the Kyuubi being sealed in you, where it would destroy itself, releasing the other half of you that it bound. Other half? You just told me who my parents are, so why do I look like a fox? Naruto yelled, pulling down his mask, now getting a gasp and a shocked face from the Hokage. Before Hiruzen responded, he went off. Some seals getting worried looks out of Naruto and Yoshino, but they relaxed as he called out. Ninpo, sound barrier. Hiruzen just hoped that no one heard Naruto's outburst. Naruto, come over here and lift up your shirt and then channel some chakra. Not knowing what else to do, Naruto did just that, and when he channeled his chakra, Sarutobi let out another gasp. How could this have happened right away, and why is the soul seal the only one left? What is that damn fox playing at? What is going on, Sandaime-sama? Yoshino asked, worried and tired of being left out of the conversation. Naruto, go sit back down, and do you want Yoshino here, to hear what is about to be said? He asked as Naruto made his way over to the chair. Yes, I do want Yoshino Basin here. She has been there for me for a long time, and she is the only one I trust enough to know what is going on with me. Just in case down the road things get out of hand, I may need her support at a later date. Naruto finished in thought. Yoshino muttered a soft thank you as he sat down, happy that he thought of her that way and to be that close to him. Very well, now to get straight to the point, there were two seals that Minato came up with to seal the Kyuubi. One was the Fuinjutsu, Shiki Fujin, demonic soul seal, but based on our research of the Bijou, we found out that they were actually celestial beings of Kami. So Minato figured that if he used that seal, then he would be messing up a plan Kami had, but he also had to stop the Kyuubi's rampage. With that in mind, he came up with the Fuinjutsu, Go-Gawa Miranai Yaji Yukai Fu, 5-part Mirror Dead Beast Fusion Seal, and used that on you and the Kyuubi. Fusion, yelled Yoshino, echoing Naruto's thoughts. Anything she had come up with regarding the seal went right out of her mind at what she heard. So I will become a huge fox and never be welcomed anywhere then? Well, Naruto, I don't know what exactly you will become. That is something you will have to talk to the Kyuubi about. But if this was up to me, you would never need to talk to the fox ever. Hiruzen told him, choosing to answer the first part of the question but leaving the last part untouched, which did not go unnoticed by the other two occupants of the Hokage office. Naruto just sat there not knowing what to say or think, as the weight of it all was slowly coming down on him the more he realized the situation. That was until he remembered something else Sarutobi had said. What did you mean about how could that have happened so soon, and about the soul seal, or whatever being the only one left? And also what the fox was playing at? Well, before I answer those, you should have a look at that scroll you took on the seal to get most of your answers. Oh, and read it out loud too, because I am still unsure on most things the seal consists of. I never really took the time to do over the scroll in detail after the first time I read it. Plus I am sure Yoshino would like to know as well. He said, to which Yoshino could only nod her head while thinking that the Hokage never gave the scroll much attention because he must have thought it would be a while before Naruto found out. Taking the scroll out that was labeled seal for the Kyuubi and looked at the seal that was blocking it, noticing that it was a blood seal. Unsure if it was his blood that would work to open it, Naruto brought his right thumb to one of his canines to cut it, before swiping his blood across the seal. Lifting up his face mask to cover his face back up, everyone watched as his cut healed pretty quickly, and the scroll glowed with a light blue color before the seal released, and the scroll opened up a bit. Looks like Minato planned on having him find and open the scroll, but I don't think he knew it would be this soon, thought Sarutobi as he watched Naruto let out a breath before unrolling the scroll and scan it before he started reading it. I, Namikaze Minato, the Yondaime Hokage of the village hidden in the leaves, have documented this seal, in hopes that my son Namikaze Naruto is the first to read this scroll. I have placed the blood seal so that those of my blood can access this scroll. Also a chakra seal so that Jiraiya the Toad Sannin and Sarutobi Hiruzen, the Sandaime Hokage of Konoha, can also access it. If it is not my son who is the first to open this scroll, I charge whoever it is the responsibility of delivering it to him when you feel he is ready to learn and understand the responsibility placed upon him. In the event of the celestial kitsune known to us as Kyuubi, and of his attack, I have created this Fuinjutsu, Go-Gawa Miranai Yaji Yukai Fu, 5-part Mirror Dead Beast Fusion Seal, to be placed on my son Namikaze Naruto. In conjunction of this, I have also added a suppression seal, which will hold back 50% of Naruto's growth. This has been done to prevent any failures of the Yukai fusion seal starting too early. The Yukai seal will activate once the suppression seal is no longer active. There are two ways that can happen, one being a sealing expert taking it off him or herself, or if Naruto learns of the seal while in emotional distress. Details and the release of the suppression seal and start of the fusion parts of the seal are as listed below. Suppression seal restricts Naruto's mind from fully retaining any knowledge gained until released. The suppression seal also restricts the physical growth and gain of Naruto's body, which he achieves through physical training. Lastly, the seal reduces the chakra capacity and control that Naruto would gain through the different forms of chakra training that he may do. When the seal is released, all that was blocked would be gained back within a few hours. Side note, there might be a lot of pain, so I hope you are unconscious when it happens. Fuinjutsu, Go-Gawa Miranai Yaji Yukai Fu. First to release mind, stores the knowledge of the Kyuubi which Naruto will slowly gain over time while he sleeps. Body, allows the fusing of certain parts of the Kyuubi to be accepted by the growth of Naruto. Side note, I am not certain what parts these will be, so that will be a surprise to everyone. Chirka slowly filters the Kyuubi's chakra into Naruto, expanding his chakra reserves and chakra capacity of his body, combining both chakra to make one. Side note, this will change the nature of his chakra, so he will have to relearn how to use chakra once this part of the seal releases. Life Force grants Naruto the Kyuubi's life capacity. Side note, yes son, you will gain immortality or live however long their kind does. I am sorry for this, and although it may seem nice, you will be forced to outlive those you hold most dear. Soul. This is the only part of the seal that will not be fused. It binds the Kyuubi to Naruto so that in the event of Naruto's death the Kyuubi dies. This seal is only to be released when the other four are released and fully fused so that it may properly destroy the Kyuubi's soul. Side note, in the event of the soul seal being released before the other four are released and fully fused, or the action of trying to take the Kyuubi from Naruto, please be in an unpopulated area. This premature release will cause both Naruto's and the Kyuubi's chakra to compress in on itself and release all at once, turning Namake's Naruto into a bomb of mass destruction, destroying both and anyone and anything in its blast radius. Also, if Naruto is killed before the activation of either seal, it will also cause the same reaction. So you better keep him alive and save Sandaime Dano, or the village is dead. I must apologize to you, Naruto, for this burden I have placed on you, and can only wish that you forgive a father and a Hokage for his choice of actions. Signed, Namake's Minato, Yandaime Hokage of the village hidden in the leaves. Naruto finished as all three of them sat in silence digesting all that was read. Yoshino could not believe what she just heard. Naruto was to become the Kyuubi in every way and in ways that no one knew. She was glad that she had the type of relationship she had with him at the moment, because if what she heard was true, then Naruto would become very powerful. To make him an enemy would be a major mistake, and at that moment she decided that if it came down to the village and Naruto, she would get her family and side with Naruto. I need to have a serious conversation with him and the Nara clan after this. After hearing the detailed explanation on the seal, Sarutobi only had more questions as to why the soul seal was the only one left. Naruto himself had hopes of getting answers, but instead he just gets answers that led to more questions. Now Naruto, to answer your question, I am confused because your seal only has one part that's not activated yet, the soul seal. All the rest are gone, and the only one who could have changed it, and the only one who can answer all of your questions now, is the one that is sealed inside you. So what you're telling me is that I have to somehow try to contact the Kyuubi and get answers. Is that even possible, and how would I do that? Naruto, I can only imagine what you are going through, but you have to realize that we truly do not know much about your case. Your father was the best sealing expert this village has ever seen since Jiraiya, who he surpassed, and another due to her Uzumaki background who allowed him to surpass Jiraiya. I am almost sure that even the Kyuubi may not know the answers that you are looking for, but if you ever want to know, then you have to try all the sources that you have. Also, I have to tell you that since this has happened, you will need to be properly trained, so I insist that you reconsider your choice of becoming a shinobi of Konoha. Sarutobi said, and seeing that Naruto was about to protest, he cut him off. Before you answer, consider this: if you try to train yourself, you will only go so far, and none of my ninja will train you, so don't even ask. Since you are not a shinobi of this village, our hands, and your hands are tied when trying to get you proper training because of that fact. All I am asking is that you give us time to find you a proper trainer, and add you to the genin list. Once there and you enter the next chunin exam and pass, you will then be able to do what you want. Can we get that in writing, Sandaime Hokage? Naruto said, getting a chuckle out of Yoshino, but not Hiruzen, because he did not like how this whole time he was referred to as his rank and title. Sure, Naruto, I will make a change that states in the event you become chunin, or in the event of my death, you have the same free travel rights that the Sannin do. Okay, fine, add me to the genin list, but if I feel as though my Jonin sensei is not being fair, or the fact that I don't fit in my team, I will be able to leave and seek whatever training I can find. I will only come back to the team for missions outside the village, and to be a part of the team for the chunin exams. Yoshino could only shake her head at the stipulations Naruto set to decide to become a shinobi of this village. Yet, she could also only agree with him, though, for all the hell he has been through, he would not want to have this village to have any more hold over him than is necessary. The Sandaime Hokage then went through a few seals, muttering kai as the room wavered for a bit. Wolf? Yes, Hokage-sama, the wolf masked A and B responded as he appeared in a puff of smoke. Get Yumino Irika in here and have him wait outside until called. Yes, Hokage-sama, he said, then vanished in a puff of smoke. You have to teach me that sound barrier jutsu, especially for when I contact Kyuubi. Who knows what sounds I make or words I say while inside my own mind. Instead of answering, Sarutobi just pulled out a scroll, wrote a few things down, and then gave it to Naruto, and reapplied the sound barrier jutsu. Immediately after getting the scroll, Naruto started studying it in hopes of learning it right off the bat, only partially listening to the Hokage. Now before you leave I must tell you both not to utter a word about this to anyone. The less people to know about Naruto and our deal the better it will be later on. Also please do me a favor, don't read that clan scroll of yours until after the Chunin exams. There are things in there that might spell more trouble. Also with everything else that you have been through, I believe that you are not ready to learn the things that are in the scroll. Hiruzen stated, hoping Naruto in light of new events would just his advice and not read it. Like hell I will listen to you anymore. There is probably something in here you don't want me to read so as not to ruin any of the Hokage's plans. You already lost my trust and not wanting me to read something that is mine by right of family and clan is suspicious in itself. No, I will read it and make my plans based on whatever it states. Naruto thought while looking into the Hokage's eyes, seeing a bit of trepidation, which only solidified him reading it as soon as he could. Okay, I won't read it for now, but again I must ask for two things. One being if you can seal this scroll in my right forearm, and two if you can give me a scroll or book about learning advanced seals, because I want to be an expert in all fields that a shinobi can use if I am to be the next Kyuubi. Actually, I can do something better. The Hokage agreed and went off the seals to open the scroll vault, and once it opened he went into the room. Finding what he was looking for among the vast amount of objects and scrolls, Hiruzen came out and sealed the room back up. This was your father, and was co-written by Uzumaki Kushina, the Uzumaki I mentioned before. They believe that their knowledge of seals and all that was recovered from Yuzushiogakure should be passed down to the next shinobi who has the potential of being a sealing master. I do believe you are to be him as you are Minato Dano's son, so here you go. Just know that if Kushina Eve has a child she will most likely call on you for the scroll. So guard that like any other thing that is of importance to you, never go anywhere without it, and once you learn the basics of sealing you can seal the scroll into something else to protect it. Now come over here and pull up your sleeve and hand me your clan scroll. Doing what Sarutobi asked of him, Naruto waited to see how the Sandaime would seal the scroll in his arm. Sarutobi himself pulled out a kunai and then grabbed Naruto's wrist and cut him across his forearm before going through a few seals, and then put the scroll on Naruto's arm lengthwise. Hiruzen made sure that the blood was touching the scroll before making one last one-handed seal. There was a bright light and a little pain on Naruto's part before all was back to normal, except that now Naruto had a seal going from his right wrist to the bend of the inside of his arm. Okay, it is done. Now when the time is right, gather some of your blood and swipe the seal and make these two one-handed seals, Sarutobi said, showing Naruto the seals as he pulled his sleeve back down. Can you remember that? Yes, I can, and I think it is time to go so that I may start on this scroll of seals, and learn the gravity seals I plan to use for my training. Naruto was about to grab Yoshino, who was still in a daze about what she just found out, especially since Kushina was still alive, and what happened with Naruto, but was stopped. You might need this, Naruto, it was your father's. Sarutobi said, reaching in his desk, pulling out a hitite which was attached to a black cloth, and tossed it to Naruto, who caught it. Thanks, Sarutobi Hokage. I will see you tomorrow after I meet my team, I guess, so that I may sign that contract between us. Also, Obasan, if you can be there to sign it as a witness, it would make things better. Or do you think it is possible to have an ANBU present also so that later it cannot be seen as a clan conspiracy with me being part Nara? Naruto asked, to the slight surprise of both Hiruzen and Yoshino for the foresight. Yes, okay, I will be expecting you, and leave without Yoshino-san. I need to talk to her a little more. Oh, and be in your old classroom at 9 a.m. for team assignments. Naruto nodded his head and then phased out to go back to his apartment where a surprise waited for him, with his voice sounded saying goodbye to his Yoshino Obasan. Sarutobi then pressed a button on his desk telling the secretary to send in Yumino Irika. After about a minute wait, the said Chunin came in bowing before taking a seat. You called Hokage-sama? Yes, as of today Harino Sakura, Uchiha Sasuke, and Naruto under Jounin Hatake Kakashi are now officially Team 7. Naruto, but I thought that he turned away his chance at becoming a genin? Umino Irika said with wide eyes looking at the Sandaime Hokage. Yes, well, due to certain events he has changed his mind and is now going to be part of your genin list. And because of certain events and information that was gained, I need all the shinobi I can get, so he had no choice. Sarutobi said, not willing or obliged to tell the Chunin anything. Sarutobi-sama, I do not think it wise to keep the same genin teams in the order that they are currently in. Yoshino said in concern about the two egotistical shinobi that were in Naruto's current team. I beg your pardon, Nara-san, but I have been doing this for 2 years and I think I know how to make teams. Irika said, getting a little upset at the fact of someone trying to second-guess his professional decision. Are you sure, teacher, or is it the fact that the clan heads of the students you had this year convinced you to keep the traditional family teams? Along with the Aburame, Akimichi, Inuzuka and Yamanaka families, my husband told me he spoke to you in remaking the Inoshikacho trio. Yoshino said, sent a glare to him for daring to lie right to her and the Hokage's face. Sarutobi himself could not believe the audacity of disregarding the future safety of the village by not placing the correct skills of each in the right teams for the sake of being bribed. Umuno Irika, you had better enjoyed whatever it is that they gave you for this. Because you just jeopardized the safety of the village, and not to mention shortchanged the genins on their growth and training in the best team that they could be in. As such, I find your allegiance to this village, and your sense of judgment to be lacking. With your background, I cannot help to be highly disappointed in you. Sarutobi paused to rub his temples as he glared at the chunin in front of him. So from this day until I deem it, you shall be an assistant chunin instructor, and your pay reduced to genin for 3 months. During that time I want you to start training like you used to, because I may need you and your partner for a few things. With that said, Irika's face lost all emotion that he felt, and he sat a little straighter in his chair, glancing over to Yoshino. Now, based upon the evaluation of the genin team by the Jounins, I will adjust them accordingly after their test. Dismissed. Sarutobi said in a stern voice of the Hokage that left no question as to who is in charge. Irika, who knew he messed up, could not offer anything in his defense all throughout the accusation and the decision, so when he heard the Hokage dismiss him, he stood out of his chair and left with a lot on his mind. I hope he is not planning on activating that team, and if Sune gets a hold that information they are active, who knows what would happen. Yoshino thought as she watched him leave, and once the door was shut she looked back at the Hokage to see him lighting his pipe and puffing at it before he let out a long smoke-filled sigh. What has this village come to? It has gotten so corrupted I am beginning to doubt the ninjas that I have been able to depend on for so long. Not knowing how to respond, Yoshino just waited on Sarutobi to start the conversation. I have to thank you for bringing that to my attention. But I have to wonder with you too, if it did not concern Naruto, would you have brought it to my attention? Yoshino was taken by surprise at that question, and thinking that she was in trouble herself, she began to speak in her defense until she looked up into the smiling face of her Hokage. Don't worry about it. I am sure that had things been different there would have been no need to speak of it. Now to why I had you stay back. Sarutobi said, filling his pipe more and lighting it again. Naruto right now will have a hard time accepting what was just found out, and will be feeling more alone now than he ever has. What I am asking you is to try not to force your family on him, maybe introduce your husband to him and convincing Shikaku to share some of the Nara family scrolls. Specifically the scrolls that Amanai had and the ones she wrote. Basically try to have Naruto trust him, but please do not tell your son about him. What? Why not? I mean, shouldn't he have more people his age to depend on more? With Shikamaru it would be. She stopped speaking at the raised hand of Sarutobi as he cut her off so he can make his intentions clear. Listen, your son is smart, rumored to be a hidden genius, and I have no doubt that if you were to all of a sudden introduce Naruto as family, too many questions will start to come up. So let them get to know each other at their own pace before that happens. Being a project and investigated by his peers is the last thing Naruto needs. His faith and trust in this village is so low. With too many pushes, I don't think I nor the council will be able to stop him from leaving. What do you mean, not even the council? I am sure they can pull something concerning the vassal of the Kyuubi that would stop him. Yoshino said, not sure what he was getting at. Are you familiar in the way the Namikaze clan came to be known as Konoha citizens? XX. Naruto himself was found sitting on top of the head of the Yondaime Hokage, looking out over the village from his position on the mountain. He could not think straight, nor could he even begin to try to slow down his thoughts on the information that was given to him not too long ago. So instead all he did was open the scroll on sealing and learn what he could and memorize the hand seals to the sealing types. What were you thinking? Did you actually believe that these assholes would honor what you say when you are not here to enforce it? I don't know whether to applaud your attempt or curse you for your stupidity for what you are turning me into. Naruto said into the air while punching the top of the head where he was sitting at. So now what? I can't leave just yet, and if I could I don't know where to go. The only thing I have to look forward to is my training, but I don't want to be stuck with only one sensei that has to worry about 2 others. I just hope things don't go right tomorrow so that I can leave the team and get more training in from other shinobis that are able to and willing to teach me. Naruto said, standing up, turning around only to see a tall man with a big build. As he looked at him he saw that he had markings on his face, long white hair, and a giant scroll on his back. Hey Gaki, it's not right to be talking to yourself, people may think you're a little crazy. Yeah, well, that would be the nicest thing they have said about me so far, Naruto said as he backed up to the edge of the Yondaime's head. And it is also not polite to sneak up on 12-year-olds and eavesdrop, old man. Whoa now Gaki, no need to go ahead and jump, it is not all that bad, the man said, slowly walking towards Naruto to grab him. Naruto just looked at him with distrust clearly shown in his eyes before he leaped back off the mountain to fall head first towards the ground. The man's eyes went wide as he watched the kid jump to his doom and ran to the edge. Just great, first day back here to deliver information and I scare a kid off the mountain. Sensei is going to kill me. As he got to the edge and looked over, he saw the kid move his head enough to look at him before we waved and phased out. Well, that was a neat trick. I wonder who that kid was, he said, walking back the way he came so he could deliver his report. Naruto appeared in his apartment, or rather what he thought was his because it did not look like it. Going to his front door, he opened it looking out to see the same hall and his apartment number, so he came back and unlocked his door. Turning around, he looked at his new white walls and couch that he found out was a pull-out bed. He looked to his right, seeing a coffee table with a bonsai tree on it, and a new bookshelf with his old books on one shelf and a few others. Moving to the kitchen, he noticed everything was new also, the walls, his stove and fridge, and he even had a microwave and toaster. Nice, now I don't have to use my stove to make toast. Turning around, he saw a door that he did not remember being there the last time to the right of the door that led to his washer and dryer. Opening it, he gasped as he looked in on a big bathroom which had 2 sinks, a closet shower and a tub right next to it. The toilet was right next to the sink, which was directly across from the shower. Once he stepped into it, he turned to his right to see 3 feet of wall before looking at another door. Coming out of the bathroom, Naruto went to the door that led to his bedroom and stepped in, looking at the same changes that was done to the rest of his place. The only thing that changed was that he had a weapon and scroll rack on his right wall and a walk-in closet on his left wall. Well, now all of this was unexpected, but I am going to enjoy it. Taking out his scrolls and putting them on his new bed, Naruto grabbed the one which had the stuff he bought earlier and opened it on the floor and began putting his things away. Once everything was done, Naruto took off his sweat top and summoned a clone. Okay, listen up, you see this seal? He said, picking up one of his scroll and showing it to the clone. I want you to write it on the middle of my chest in blood, then let me know when you're done. With that said, Naruto held out his hand, cut it with a kunai, letting the blood pool in his hand before it healed. The clone then proceeded to apply the seal that was written in the scroll upon his chest that was about the size of a soccer ball when it was done. All done, Naruto Yaji, father/boss, do you need me for anything else? Now that you mentioned it, I need some food, so henge if you can and do a little shopping. Right away, Oyaji, the clone said as Naruto handed him his Gamma wallet, watching it henge into the Naruto form but with clothes. Naruto then looked back at the scroll, memorizing the seals before he performed them. Walking into the bathroom using the door in his room, he looked into the mirror and went through the seals. Fuinjutsu, gravity seal activate, Naruto said as he felt pain in his chest and watched the seals spread all across his body with the pain following the seals. Naruto opened his eyes after the pain subsided to see his face, upper torso, arms including his fingers covered in purple-colored seals before they faded out. Turning to go back to his room, Naruto misjudged just how strong the seal started out with the amount of chakra he added and found himself face first on his bathroom floor. Good job, Naruto, he said in his head as he tried pushing up to his hands and knees. After what he thought was 15 minutes of trying, Naruto finally got into position and slowly crawled into his bedroom, pulling himself up by his bed and finally standing. Hearing someone outside his room, Naruto slowly turned around, grabbing a kunai. Who is out there? Answer up now. It's just me, Oyaji. I am back after an hour of shopping and I am just putting the food away. An hour? Wow, it took me an hour just to get from the bathroom to here. I don't have the answer to that question, but I am done now, so I will dispel myself, the clone said as he disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Naruto was about to move again when information of going shopping and what happened outside in that hour he was here came to him. Well, that was unexpected, but the possibilities are endless with my training. I could learn and practice everything with my clones while I work on the physical part. Kege Bunshin no Jutsu, Naruto said, summoning 5 clones. He told them to follow him into the living room. Once there, he told 3 clones to go to an undisclosed area in the forest via henge and practice everything he learned out of the scroll of seals. He gave them more chakra before they left so that they would last a while before running out. He then gave one the book on seals that the Sandaime gave him, and the other he gave a book on chakra control that he saw was added to his new bookshelf. Naruto himself read the gravity seal scroll and learned how to cancel the effects along with adding to it upon his body. After that was done, Naruto looked at his clock, seeing it was just past noon. He made something to eat before going about small physical training to make his movement a little easier. So they have begun to move now, huh? Well, all the more reason to have him trained because he will need it. Well, I can understand the training, Sarutobi-sensei, but if all this is to be understood, what they are after they cannot get, or they will destroy themselves in the process. Jiraiya, that may be true, but they don't know that, and I am not willing to give them the information on it. If they find out, who knows what could happen. They might just decide to take him anyway and train him to become one of them, Sarutobi said, looking at his former student after hearing the information that was gathered. Sensei, he would never leave. This is the place of his mother and father. He is a genin of the leaf. He will not betray us. While I trust Naruto to not betray me or Yoshino, he has nothing else in the leaf that is holding him back. Yoshino also already told me that if she had to, she would choose Naruto, taking her family with her. If that happens, we will have powerful enemies against us, and this time when we face the new Kyuubi, this village will not survive. Jiraiya just sat there looking at his sensei, having a hard time believing what was being said. With a loud sigh, Jiraiya dropped his head and spoke in a subdued tone. What do you want me to do then, Sarutobi-sensei? I want you to go back out and gather as much information on them as possible. Who exactly is in the group and what their abilities are. What are their goals and how they plan to go about executing them. Anything, Jiraiya, that can be helpful, and regardless if you are done or not, I want you back here for the Chunin exams in 8 months. Yes, sensei, Jiraiya said as he got up and walked toward the window. When he got there, he had a grin on his face as he reached in his clothes and pulled out an orange book before tossing it to Sarutobi, leaving out the window. It was 7 o'clock in the morning when Naruto opened his eyes to find himself laying on his living room floor along with scrolls and books lying about. What happened last night? The last thing I remember was a big headache before. Wait, that's it. Naruto thought as he remembered the information from the 3 clones coming to him all at once, and shortly after the other two's knowledge came to him. Well, now the only thing left from the scroll is to learn the taijutsu and kenjutsu that was in it. I am glad I have a good memory. At least I can move around better. I had to do a lot of exercises to be able to move a little bit normal. Naruto then got up and went into his room to grab his supplies before heading to take a shower. After he was done, he got dressed in his black pants and put on his maroon sleeveless shirt before looking at his right arm. If people see that seal, they are going to be asking questions that I don't want to answer, so looking around, Naruto's gaze saw his black medical tape and wrapped his arm from his wrist to the middle of his bicep. Pulling on his fishnet-style shirt, Naruto then proceeded to rip off the right sleeve. There we go, now I look like an actual shinobi instead of that orange garbage that screamed, "Here I am, kill me." Naruto headed to the kitchen to get something to eat but stopped as there was a small knock on his door. Now who could that be? At only 8 o'clock in the morning and I am not popular. Naruto then made his way and opened up the door to only get a slight surprise. "Hinata, what are you doing here?" This